Well, breaking news. Breaking news doesn't even remotely cover this one. An absolute shocking bombshell going on just, about 20 minutes ago now, taking the NBA world by storm. We have already had a frenetic couple days of player movement. Free agency just opened up, roughly about 25 hours ago exactly. But we have seen a bunch of trades happening in this cycle already since the NBA Finals concluded. Of course, we had Giannis Antetokounmpo finally getting free of Milwaukee, being sent to Miami. Miami finally getting their guy. A bunch of other secondary things have happened on the trade market. LaMelo Ball, of course, shipped out of Charlotte. And now, just roughly, again, 20 minutes ago, less than half an hour, the Jaylen Brown trade sagas are now wrapping up as well. Of course, the Boston Celtics were in on the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, ultimately Miami winning, but Jaylen Brown's name was involved in trade scenarios going out from Boston to bring Giannis Antetokounmpo back. Jaylen Brown was the preeminent portion of that package, along with two future first-round picks. Ultimately, again, Miami was the favored package by Milwaukee, but the damage was already done. Jaylen Brown's name already included. He was already burned by the organization. And so too were the bridges between Brown and franchise, seemingly, because Boston has been feverishly trying to ship Jaylen Brown or shopping Jaylen Brown somewhere ever since that failed Antetokounmpo trade. And from what we've heard in recent days, the asking price was a bit steep from the Boston Celtics. What we've heard the last couple days has been that the rest of the NBA doesn't evaluate or doesn't think as highly of Jaylen Brown as the Boston Celtics did. Well, that, I guess, holy crap, was an understatement, because the Boston Celtics just sent Jaylen Brown packing to the Philadelphia 76ers for a package which is so utterly shocking and stupefying, you simply won't believe it. And that is not hyperbole. This is one of the most ridiculous, lopsided, and atrocious trades I have seen in recent memory. Now, Jaylen Brown is not the caliber of player of Luka Doncic, but this deal is almost as shocking as that deal was that we saw when Luka Doncic ultimately got dealt out of Dallas into Los Angeles. Essentially, this deal, like that deal, I have to scratch my head and question whether anybody else was involved at all. Did the Boston Celtics just target the Philadelphia 76ers kind of like the Dallas Mavericks seemingly targeted the LA Lakers and said, just you, come up with the best package possible and let's make something happen? Because seemingly that's the only thing that makes any semblance of sense right now as I look and try to unpack this absolutely absurd deal where the Boston Celtics are sending out last year's All-NBA second-team performer in Jaylen Brown, who I think was a fringe first-team performer. Look, ultimately, Cade Cunningham and Luka Doncic, speaking of him, won an appeal with the NBA in order to gain eligibility for year-end awards and MVP voting, despite the fact they did not hit that minimum 65-game threshold. And if either one of those two guys did not gain that qualified by the NBA, if the NBA did not grant that appeal, I ultimately think Jaylen Brown would have been first-team All-NBA last year. Again, either one, if Cade or Luka were ineligible, I think basically Brown was the first man out for first-team All-NBA last season. This is a guy who just a few short seasons ago won Eastern Conference MVP en route to the Boston Celtics championship, and he won Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown, for whatever reason, has been so marginalized and disrespected throughout this trade cycle, but I guess seemingly that is reality, because I have to believe that if Boston could have got better or could have had more, they would have. But instead, they get back Paul George, the carcass of Paul George, the moldy remains of Paul George, whatever is left of Paul George because there ain't much. This guy, this freaking guy, Paul George, one of the greatest fleece artists in NBA history. This dude's made like $500 million in his NBA career, and he is the very definition of a part-time player over the last, basically 6 or 7 years. Let's just begin in the 2019-2020 season, where he played 48 games, 54 games the next year, 31 games the year after that, 56 games the year after that. Okay. 74 games in 2024. And not surprisingly enough, what do you think 2023, 2024 happened to be? Oh, a contract year for, I'm spitting all over the place because I'm so outraged by this deal. That 2024 year was a contract year for Pandemic P, for Podcast P. So he played 74 games to go ahead and get his bank and con the 76ers out of another massive deal. And he did get his massive deal, $50+ million a year for like 4 or 5 seasons, in which he still has 2 years left on that contract right now. And in the last 2 seasons, Podcast P, the full-time podcaster, part-time NBA player, played in only 41 games and 37 games. 37 games last season. He's due $54 million this year. He has a player option for $56 million next year. He is 35 freaking years old. That is what the Boston Celtics get back, along with 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031. They also get 2 second-round picks in 2028 and 2030. But the crux of this deal essentially boils down to Paul George and 2 first-round picks in 28 and 2031. That is so utterly cheap. What were the other packages that the other NBA teams, what were they presenting? I have to know. I simply must know. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I just decided to jump on and ramble about this trade and rant about it and complain about it, because what the hell was the rest of the NBA doing, seemingly caught with their pants down? I can't believe that the asking price dipped this low. Reportedly, allegedly, the Boston Celtics initially wanted 4 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown. That was the asking price, 4 unprotected. And then who knows about, getting back assets, getting back viable pieces that you can use right now. Like, were they asking for that? The Denver Nuggets were seemingly engaged in deep trade conversations and discussions with the Boston Celtics. And reportedly, that deal looked like Jamal Murray and Cameron Johnson and a first-round pick. Now, look, I talk a lot of shit on Jamal Murray, and that's because I hate him and I think he's outrageously overrated, and I just want him gone from the Denver Nuggets and out of Nikola Jokic's life. But I love Cam Johnson. I think he was the 3rd best player on the Nuggets last year. And the fact that they were packaging both of those guys and a first-round pick, look, regardless of what you think of Jamal Murray, that package is a hell of a lot better than this package. What is Brad Stevens smoking? Brad, stay off the weed, my guy. They need to get Brad Stevens on an immediate drug test. I think, look, there's all kinds of betting scandals and implications going on in the sports world and the NBA. Does Brad Stevens, in fact, have some kind of a preseason bet on the Philadelphia 76ers or against his own team in the Boston Celtics? Because we are talking, mind you, keep in mind, that the Boston Celtics last year were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. That is in a year where they barely had Jason Tatum. He came back at the tail end of that season, and he came back from a ruptured Achilles that he suffered in the previous playoff cycle against the New York Knicks. So he came back very, very quickly from that injury. They slow played him back as much as they could, and they got him back for the last handful of games of the regular season. And despite that, the Boston Celtics still won over 55. I think they won 56 games last year. They were the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And this team has legitimate and viable championship aspirations. Going into next year, in fact, they opened as, following the NBA, the day after the NBA Finals completed, they were installed as the 3rd highest odds-on favorite to win the NBA championship next season. You had the San Antonio Spurs at 1, slightly above the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then the Boston Celtics, number 3 league-wide, number 1, the best odds in the Eastern Conference. Why, do you ask? Well, because they have, again, 2 kind of fringe first-team All-NBA caliber players in both Brown and Tatum. And now they deal Brown away for a bag of potato chips and I almost said a package of gum, but it's more like a used stick of gum. It's almost like the 76ers chewed up their piece of gum, spit it out in their hand, and packaged that piece of gum with a bag of potato chips and sent that over to Boston, and they get Jaylen Brown in return. And the bag of potato chips, mind you, isn't even like a family size. Hell, it's not even a regular size. It's one of those little vending machine sizes of a potato chip bag. That, a chewed up used piece of gum, is what, and 2 first-round picks, is what went out to the Boston Celtics to return Jaylen Brown. Really, Brad Stevens, this is it? This is the best you could do. You have been feverishly shopping Jaylen Brown, who was an all-star last year and second-team All-NBA and an MVP finalist. You've been feverishly shopping him to, allegedly, according to reports, 10 to 12 different NBA teams, and this was the package that the Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens have arrived upon. Again, pandemic P, podcast P, and 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031. And by the way, that 2028 pick doesn't even figure to be all that valuable because the 76ers are going to be good. Like, that pick is not next season, it's the season after. How high do we possibly think that pick might become when you have the 76ers who, oh, by the way, here's another wrinkle into it, beat the Boston Celtics in the playoffs last year in the first round. So the 76ers actually won a series last year in the postseason. Now they're getting Jaylen Brown to amass, arguably, in my estimation, the best backcourt in the entire NBA. And I don't even know how arguable that is. Tyrese Maxey, who, again, he made an All-NBA team last year. He was a first-team All-NBA selected player last year. I believe he made the 3rd team. So you have 2 All-NBA backcourt pieces now in Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown. And you're pairing them with that young up-and-comer VJ Edgecombe, who had a very, very impressive rookie season last year. That is the best backcourt, for my money, in the entire NBA. So the Boston Celtics go from the odds-on favorite to win the Eastern Conference to who the hell knows at this point. Because yesterday we saw Kawhi Leonard traded out of LA to Toronto. I think now Toronto is undeniably above the Boston Celtics. We can go ahead and put the Knicks right above them, defending champions, even though they promised to lose a slew of players that were free agents. It began today. They lose Mitchell Robinson, and they're probably going to lose more than that. But still, the Knicks unquestionably above the Boston Celtics now in light of this deal. And like I said, the Toronto Raptors are up there now above them. I don't think there's any argument. Look, as bad as the Cleveland Cavaliers are in the postseason with little game James Harden, they were still an Eastern Conference finalist. I think they are now ahead of them. The Detroit Pistons, people are dropping out of the Jalen Duren market. Looks like he might be returning potentially. Although there was news that Duren wanted a sign and trade to the Boston Celtics. That's obviously not going to happen now at this point. But I think the Detroit Pistons go above the Boston Celtics. And then who knows, the Charlotte Hornets, I like their deal, bringing in Naz Reid and getting LaMelo Ball over to Minnesota. So what I'm saying here is, when I woke up this morning, the Boston Celtics, in my opinion, were the best team in the Eastern Conference. I concurred with Las Vegas's odds mark that had them at the number 1 seed in the East. And now, just 12 hours after I woke up, now all of a sudden the Boston Celtics are like the 6th or 7th best team, probably in their own conference. How to Destroy Your Own Team by Brad Stevens. Or maybe Brad Stevens just has How to Destroy Your Team for Dummies, and he's just reading through that manual and executing each bullet point to precision. Because again, I don't understand it. Guys, welcome in to all of you, the roughly 1,200 that are joining us here in Skap Live. Not quite Skap Live After Dark, but we are here Skap Live, and the waters are always warm here in the lounge. So welcome into the roughly 1,200 of you that are joining me at this time. Guys, please make sure that you do hit that like button to send out the smoke signals to the YouTube algorithm to let other people know they can join us. Hit that like. If you aren't, for whatever reason, obviously you should be, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you can join me when I jump on at these arbitrary time frames. Yesterday, we were on at like 12:30. Tonight, it's 7 p.m.-ish. Who knows what tomorrow holds and what breaking news might be at our fingertips then. So, guys, turn those notifications on. And I see there's a lot of comments flying around right now in the live chat area. Please do continue to comment. And if anybody out there can explain this deal to me at this point, that would be great, because I simply don't understand it. It is head-scratching, puzzling. I can't believe this is the best deal. Was there some kind of a collusionary thing going on between the Celtics and the Sixers? Or maybe the Boston Celtics, do they have a wink handshake agreement from Commissioner Silver to send Jaylen Brown there, and then Commissioner Silver will make up for it on the back end, kind of like he rigged the draft lottery for the Dallas Mavericks so they could get Cooper Flagg? Who the hell knows at this point? But the deal, based on its own merit, makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. Let me just welcome in at this point moderator Gary, who also joins us. Moderator Gary, are you equally as baffled and befuddled as I am about this ridiculous trade that we just found out about now?
I don't ever call you. I always text you. I had to call you for this. I'm stunned. It's like somewhere Nico Harrison's smiling right now. He's like, thank goodness someone made as equally, maybe even a more egregious trade than he did. I don't understand it. It's like Jaylen Brown. Why not ask for Edgecombe? Even that would be kind of, I would at least understand it. Edgecombe looks like a star to me. But what you want, Tatum's, you want a guy that's going to play well with Tatum. Paul George isn't going to play well with Tatum. I don't understand this. They're both ball-dominant guys. You want a front court guy and a back court guy playing together. This doesn't even make sense. I don't understand it. And to your point, what you said, you don't even understand now. Now Philly has got 3 ball-dominant guys as well, between Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Maxey. Now, if Embiid is healthy, boy, oh boy, look out for the Sixers. But we don't anticipate that ever happening.
They're not healthy, though. Like, I mean, they do need a big, obviously, or they need some guy to be in there for rebounding purposes. But that backcourt is electric. Like, they didn't have, they only had Embiid for half the year anyway, and they still got in to the playoffs. Now, in my estimation, they could win 50 games if they just have, even if they just have Embiid for like 40 of them and slow play him into the playoffs. I mean, Philadelphia is a viable threat. They're a viable contender now. I don't understand what the hell is going on right now. If Philly can somehow dump Embiid next, if they got out of the contract of Paul George, which was a horrific, heinous contract. Like Paul George, I don't know what the full guarantee, I think it was like $200 million was the original guarantee that they owed him. They still owe him $105 million. Embiid's is even worse. They owe him $170 million right now. They owe him 58 next year, 62 the following year, and then he can activate a player option for 67 in 2029. So that's an even worse contract. If the Philadelphia 76ers could somehow now offload Joel Embiid too, oh my goodness. The 76ers, we're talking about a viable NBA championship contender. Gary, we can talk about other things, obviously. The Lakers, by the way, today just made a trade for Walker Kessler, who is the center, the 7'2", 24-year-old center from Utah, who apparently wanted the max extension for him, and Utah didn't really want to grant that. So they had been shopping him. The Lakers end up getting him, which does fill a glaring hole for the LA Lakers. They have been very light on rebounding, very light on rim protection, shot blocking the last several years. It's one of the most glaring inadequacies about that Lakers lineup. So this fills a major need. They give him 4 years, $130 million upon completing the sign and trade. But the package that Kessler returned, 2 unprotected firsts. The Lakers send 2 unprotected firsts in 2031 and 2033 and first-round swaps in 2028 and 2030. That's a better – basically, you're telling me that Walker Kessler fetched more in return than did Jaylen Brown. I just don't get it. And look, I get the kid is a coveted, like I said, rim protector. He's one of the probably – him and Jalen Duren are the top 2 bigs on the market right now. So I guess he had that kind of a value. However, look, he's played in 201 games in 4 years of a possible 328. So he has played in, Walker Kessler has 61% of the games that he has been eligible to appear in. And he played all 5 games last season. And you get 2 unprotected firsts for him and 2 first round pick swaps. And now Jaylen Brown, essentially just 2 firsts. And yes, 2 seconds, whatever. Seconds are basically meaningless in the NBA. Yes, every once in a while, like once out of every 1,000 picks, you get a diamond in the rough. But by and large, nothing. And even closer to nothing than those second round picks, in my opinion, at this point, is Paul George, who again played in only 37 games last year. And he played in 41 games the year before. So, and he's 35 right now. Like, I'm going to see when his birthday actually is, May 2nd. Okay, so he just turned 36 actually, 2 months ago. So last year was his age 35 season. So he's 36 years old right now. I mean, he's not going to get any more available or any more durable now moving forward next year. And Jaylen Brown, meanwhile, is 29. He turns 30 in October. After the NBA season gets underway, probably like the first week of the NBA season, he turns 30. So essentially, this guy, you traded a 36-year-old who is absolutely washed and cooked for a 29-year-old who was fringe first-team All-NBA. And then 2 first-round picks, which, again, are going to amount to practically nothing. At least that 2028 is going to amount to practically nothing. So I don't get this at all. I am so baffled by it. All of the deals, by and large, have made very little sense, practically no sense at all to me to this point. Again, the Denver Nuggets, I wasn't in love with the idea. And look, we haven't heard about anybody else being involved in this. Like, we know they were in talks with Milwaukee. Other than that, the only name of any team that we've actually heard about, well, Portland. We did hear Portland was engaged and interested in Jaylen Brown, but they ultimately ended up trading for Ja Morant instead. And then the only other team that has come to light or surfaced throughout this Jaylen Brown trade discussions or ongoing saga for Boston has been the Denver Nuggets. And the package that we had been hearing about is Cam Johnson and Jamal Murray and at least 1 first-round pick. That's a good deal. Like, Cam Johnson is a really good defender. He's a really good three-point shooter. He's got size. He's athletic. He was 3rd on the Denver Nuggets in on-off and plus-minus last year. He's a very good – he is a starting caliber player that could get you 20. And then they're throwing Jamal Murray, who was all-NBA 3rd team last year and averaged 25 points and 7 assists per game in the regular season and shot like 43% from the three-point line. That and at least 1 first-round pick? What are we doing? Like, was that available? Was that a real deal, or is it just a smokescreen? Because if that is a real deal, Brad Stevens needs to be drug tested, and he needs to lose his job immediately. And if it wasn't a deal, why the hell wasn't the Denver Nuggets talking? I didn't even
want Aaron Gordon and like Peyton Watson or Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown for them because those are guys that could actually play around with Tatum.
Look, and I wasn't even high on bringing Jaylen Brown back to the Nuggets, quite frankly. I think that like I want them to get rid of Jamal Murray, but I want them to go for like a less sexy, less heralded kind of a package. I want like 2 or 3 serviceable role players, like maybe 1 serviceable starter and like 2 bench players or something,
right?
Like a lesser starter, just 2 or 3 guys that could defend,
just quality players
and help fill out the Nuggets depth and bench. So I wasn't really high on the Jamal Murray for Jaylen Brown, but hell, at this point, like why not just do Jamal Murray, and if you can scrounge up 2 picks, why not just do that and not throw in Cam Johnson? Or get rid of Christian Brown somehow if you can. I don't even know. I'm just so utterly disgusted with some of these deals that are being made. I thought the Giannis Antetokounmpo package was light as well. This Jaylen Brown package is obscene to me. I just don't get it. And single-handedly, the Boston Celtics have taken themselves from the number 1 team in the East, in my opinion, to the number 4 or 5 team at best. Maybe at worst, at lowest, 6th or 7th best. And I just I can't for the life of me understand it. And you trade him to a team, they lost to the Sixers. Again, let me repeat that. They had a 3-1 lead in the first round, did the Boston Celtics, on the Philadelphia 76ers, and they beat them. They came back, the Sixers did, from a 3-1 hole and eliminated the Boston Celtics last year. And now you trade them Jaylen Brown? Like, you make them much better than you now. I don't know. This is absurd. It is, to quote my main guy, Darko Rajakovic, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, it's a complete crap, this trade package. And what's going on in this whole free agency period, which I know none of this stuff has been free agency. It's just player movement, player trades, and so forth. But what's been happening and what's been going on at this point, it's just unmitigated madness to me. And now, honestly, quite frankly, LeBron James, I thought he was going to sign immediately with Golden State last night. We were on yesterday talking about that on Skap Live, and I was speculating that LeBron James would be pulling the trigger on Golden State last night at some point after 6 p.m. Not only didn't that happen, him and Rich Paul are apparently fielding calls from, quote, 12 to 14 different teams, according to Rich. So there's a lot of interest, allegedly, in LeBron James's services. Nothing would surprise me now at this point for him. Like, I thought for sure he was going to Golden State, maybe an outside chance of Cleveland, but who knows? Like, everything is so crazy and backwards and upside down right now. I simply don't know. The only thing, I guess, that I could hope out for, cross my fingers on, is that potentially maybe Nikola Jokic is just going to get traded too. Maybe it's just so crazy and so zany and such an insane cycle right now that maybe even Nikola Jokic will be shopped at this point, because word has it that he does not intend to sign that 4-year, $280 million extension that's on the table for him in Denver. So who knows? Up is
Why
down.
not that swap?
Up.
Why
What's
not?
That?
Why not that swap? Is Jokic like that adamant against no way I want to leave Denver? If I was Jokic, I would consider going to Boston, and I'd rather play with Tatum than with Jamal Murray. They're so well run.
He's not on the table, Gary. I would imagine that he is not on the table for that the Denver Nuggets don't want to trade him. But that's becoming an increasing reality now at this point, because I just don't see any way out of the Jamal Murray contract. I don't see any way that they can repair this roster. And honestly, if they just price dump Cam Johnson for nothing to run it back essentially by giving Peyton Watson $30 million a year, the team is worse next season. And I just don't see any way they can convince Nikola Jokic to consider that extension, A, or B, even come back after next year, because they're in cap hell. That team is terrible. They've given out several bad contracts, and there's just no way out. I mean, Jamal Murray making $56 million a year is atrocious, but it pales in comparison to Christian Brown's $25 million a year. It's just unbelievable the penchant that this team has for giving out the worst contracts in the NBA. They had Michael Porter Jr. on that heinous ass contract. They finally get rid of him for Cam Johnson, the one great move they've made in years. And now they're going to flush it down the toilet, seemingly, because they got a salary dump Cam Johnson in order to clear some space for Peyton Watson, because they're on the cusp of the second apron, and they're now hard capped against trying to bring back Watson. And they've lost Tim Hardaway Jr. for cheap. Only $6.5 million seemingly is what it would have taken to bring him back. He signed today with the Miami Heat for $6.5 million. I was fantasizing about Marcus Smart maybe in a Denver Nuggets uniform next year. He's out. He signed today also on the cheap. $6.5 million per year for him. He's going to Houston. 2-year, $13 million. Why does nobody want this guy? I just can't figure it out for the life of me why there wasn't more interest for Marcus Smart, why the Lakers wouldn't have given him more money. I don't understand. So anything can happen, guys, at this point. Up is down, down is up, cats and dogs living together. I just don't get all of these moves. And look, it's like 2 days in. It's only July 1st. So we still need to, again, get some kind of news from LeBron James at this point. And I don't get why the Boston Celtics did this. I'm just I'm canvassing ESPN, and I think, is that Quentin Richardson saying, all I see is the headline, Richardson, I like the 76ers Celtics trade for both teams. We need to drug test Quentin Richardson too at this point. I don't know how anybody could like this deal for Boston. I can't believe that they couldn't have gotten several better offers from several other teams if they were really shopping him from, again, an alleged and reported 10 to 12 different teams. It can't be the deal. Like, there's got to be some typo here. There has to be more involved in the outbound package that's going to the Boston Celtics. I just don't get it. Look, the masterful trade, I think, by the Philadelphia 76ers to get out from under that heinous contract from Pandemic P, the part-time player and the full-time podcaster that he's become in recent years. And he's completely checked out of the NBA, in my estimation. He's just collecting checks at this point. So a totally wasted addition on behalf of the Boston Celtics, and a masterful job by the Philadelphia 76ers to get rid of that contract. I honestly thought the 76ers would have to attach an asset to that contract to send it out. Like a first-round pick plus Paul George, and that's it, just to get somebody to absorb that putrid-ass contract. But they actually packaged him with 2 firsts and bring back Jaylen Brown. So a fleece job of all fleece jobs, a fleece job of epic proportions being committed right now in this Boston and Philadelphia trade. A team that, I mean, look, the Celtics have owned the Philadelphia 76ers like few teams have ever owned another team. I think you have to go back to the 80s to find a time in NBA playoff history where the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Boston Celtics in the postseason up until last season. So that 30-plus, 40-year-ish streak came to an end last year, that streak of playoff futility by the Philadelphia 76ers head-to-head against the Boston Celtics in a stunning 3-1 comeback. And now, well, this is just adding insult to injury, as Philadelphia has now bent Boston over their knees and are spanking their little tushes now in this trade. It is a humiliating time to be a Boston Celtics fan right now. I can't believe it. If I were a Celtics fan, I would be wearing a brown paper bag to the games next year over my face. They are worse. The Boston Celtics are a worse run franchise than the Denver Nuggets at this point. And that's really saying a hell of a lot. Gary, I don't even know. I just don't know. We've got about 1,300 people in here. Guys, welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, pals. We've got some comments to go through. We're going to get into some of that. here in a moment. But first, Gary, I got to get your take on Tobias Harris over me. Tobias Harris, good friend of, speaking of, he's got some connectivity with Philly there, obviously. Tobias Harris, who was the Detroit Pistons' #2 offensive option last year in the NBA playoffs. Think that over. The 62-win Detroit Pistons, who were the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, who ultimately ended up losing in 7 games in the second round of the playoffs, had Tobias Harris as their #2 option. Now he inks, I believe, a 2-year, $31 million deal with moderator Gary's San Antonio Spurs to go there and be like the 8th option now there. Gary, what say you on this Tobias Harris over me deal? What do you think?
Well, it is part 2, Tobias Harris over me, because LeBron was trying to get to San Antonio, and they're like, no, we'll go with Tobias Harris instead. I'm wondering what the deal is with Rui Hachimura, because honestly, that's what I thought we were going to be getting. But Tobias Harris, I mean, yeah, this is the kind of deal that this is what you do. You gradually build. And now we've got a veteran on here who's going to be able to help play at the 4 and help get some rebounds. We've got Terrace Reed now. In 2028, Quaintance should be healthy from his ACL. He's going to go through another procedure, and he's going to play in 2028. So I like Harris and Reed playing at the 4, switching in and out, and we're gonna be better. We are already better than we were last year. We're already going to be a much stronger team, and we're going to have to drop some of this dead weight because we had like 4 or 5 guys on the bench who didn't even play. And I mean, like I said, in the second round, we got Gillespie, who looks like he's going to be a spark plug off the bench. And then we got Malik Brown, who is the ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Carter Bryant's on the bench. We're pretty loaded right now. We're getting in like Thunder territory of depth, and I'm hoping we might even pass them in another year or so after next year's draft, as long as we play our cards right. But there was speculation about LeBron going to the Spurs.
I don't think that could happen, Gary. His legacy is at like an all-time low point right now.
Right.
He is, and he hears the criticisms, obviously, and we know that the vast majority, at least the consensus of people who aren't pathetic LeBron jock sniffers, bootlickers, and absolute sycophants, we know the vast majority of the consensus on LeBron is that he is a carpet-bagging mercenary who stole 4 putrid, trashy super team rings. So how could this guy overcome another jump like that to the San Antonio Spurs, who were in the NBA Finals, and they were in one-score games in the final minute in all 4 games that they lost? Like, they are the odds-on favorite from Vegas right now to win the NBA championship next season. I just don't think LeBron realistically could have overcome the backlash that he would have received if he picked
Stop thinking rationally. That's not what we do. This is why he's got ESPN, Nick Wright, Colin Cowherd, Shannon Sharp in his pocket, because they're his mouthpiece to spin the narrative. So he doesn't ever have to worry about the way people are going to look because he's got these guys in his back pocket. So, but I'm quite sure he would have loved to go to the Spurs, and he would have found a way to spin it in his favor if they had, in fact, won. I personally don't think Wemby would want him there. I surely hope not. But, okay, but not the Spurs were just one team. There were several others as well, as obviously he's still in the hunt. What do you think about this? Hold on. I don't want to upset Sarah in the chat here. What about Minnesota with Ant, Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, and Jaden McDaniels?
It's being
because
discussed.
They said he's open to taking the league minimum at this point.
Right. It's being discussed. Minnesota's a team that's been thrown out there as a possibility.
Oh, it has. Okay.
There's a few teams. The 3 teams that have surfaced as the viable or the realistic front runners right now, Golden State is still the odds-on favorite. Now Miami is in the mix firmly with Cleveland as well. So those are the 3 teams Obviously, Miami and Cleveland kind of make just sense because they're return situations. Like I've said all along, I don't think LeBron wants to go to a new franchise. I think he wants to keep his total teams played for at 3, which would mean the Lakers are out. So it would be between Miami and Cleveland. However, Golden State is the favorite. They are close to his home in Southern California. They do have LeBron's bestie now, Draymond Green, his fellow Clutch client, and Steph Curry, who's been schmoozing up to LeBron, allegedly, for like 3 years now. So they got all that stuff there, but they are in the much more difficult Western Conference. So anyway, the word has it, those are the 3 finalists for LeBron's services, though they are listening to, according to Rich Paul, 12 to 14 other teams. Minnesota has been speculated that they may be in the running. I don't even want to mention it, but Denver is another team that people seem to keep bringing up. Denver, I believe, yesterday were 70 to 1 in Vegas, odds-on favorites to get LeBron James. Right now, as I sit here, they're 5 to 1. So Denver is allegedly in the mix for Nikola Jokic as well. They can't give him practically anything. They're so hard capped, just the minimum. But again, according to Rich Paul, via LeBron James, this decision will have nothing to do with money. It's where he feels like he can be happy and have fun and compete. So, yeah, Minnesota, Denver, 2 teams, 2 out of kind of off the radar, out of nowhere teams that are being linked to LeBron right now. So, again, who knows? Nothing at this point, at this stage. It's July, whatever, 1st. Nothing would surprise me right now with all the things I've seen to this point. Every trade that I see just gets more puzzling than the last. Like there's very few trades, I think, like the Kawhi Leonard deal made a bunch of sense to me for both teams. I like what the Clippers got back. Yeah. I like what the Raptors were able to retain while bringing in Leonard. So I get that. I get that deal for both teams. And I like the deal for Charlotte that they get Naz Reid and they send LaMelo Ball out with all the draft collateral they got there. So I like that deal too. I get it. I get that. But other than that, and I get the Walker Kessler thing. Like it's a steep price to pay that they're sending out 2 unprotected firsts and 2 swaps. But still, they needed to fill that void. Like they needed to get Kessler or Jalen Duren. They needed to. So I guess they had intel. They knew that they were going to miss on Duren, and they went and got, what some people think is option 1 over Duren even. They got one of the 2 best bigs on the market in Kessler. So I get that. Those are the only moves basically to this point that I think makes any semblance of sense at all. In fact, speaking of that Kawhi Leonard trade, the exact package in that deal was Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors in exchange for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, unprotected first rounds in 2031 and 2033, a 2027 swap, and 2 second round picks. So 2 first round picks, 2 second round picks, a first round pick swap, and Brandon Ingram, who was an all-star last year. He led the Raptors in scoring, was an all-star. He's only 28 years old, averaged 21 points per game. Gary, the Clippers got back much more in their package for Kawhi Leonard than the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown. And
don't get it. No.
Kawhi Leonard is a great player. He was a second-team All-NBA performer last year. He was a fringe first-team performer too last year, I thought. So that's 2 guys that are essentially on the same tier right now in Jaylen Brown and Kawhi Leonard. But here's the skinny on that though, and here's the rub, I should say. Again, Kawhi Leonard turned 36 yesterday or 2 days ago, and Jaylen Brown doesn't turn 30 till October. Why the hell did the Clippers get so much more back, such a much better package for that guy than Boston got back for Jaylen Brown? It is unmitigated madness right now. And again, for the life of me, I can't make it make sense. So guys, I'm going to keep this ESPN.com page handy.
I'm up to,
because anything can happen
too. Yeah.
at any time. And we'll break the news if it happens here live on Skap Live. We'll break the news. But guys, in the meantime, thank you again for being here. As always, we're right around at the 45-minute mark, which sounds like a decent time, Gary, to me, to start getting into some questions and comments from all of you guys. So let's go ahead and start that segment, see which direction you guys want to go. And go ahead, Gary, first. What do you got?
I just want to correct myself. I think I misspoke and said Naz Reid when I was listing the Wolves, because I saw people in the chat saying Naz Reid was traded. Yes, I must have just made an error. I love Naz Reid off of the Timberwolves and on the Hornets. I'm so glad that the Hornets got rid of Melo, because I think the Hornets are like a high character franchise, and he doesn't fit that mold. And I think Naz Reid, I know he's physical, but I still think he's a hard-nosed, high-character guy. I like Naz Reid, even though he mixed it up with Wemby in the playoffs.
So, and Gary, that's a good point. I'm glad you bring that up. Let me piggyback off that point for a second, because I like the LaMelo Ball trade a lot for Charlotte. I like Naz Reid fills a big hole for them. They needed to get a big defensive guy, and Naz Reid fits the bill perfectly, I think. And they get out from LaMelo's contract. The guy's not very available. He's not very durable. And he has some issues, I think, on the court, some immaturities on and off the court. I hate the trade for Minnesota. I think Minnesota should have tried to retain more size. But look, if Minnesota wanted to try to get a star player and just pair a star guard with Anthony Edwards, well, Minnesota likely was engaged in the trade discussions with Boston for Jaylen Brown. So what was Minnesota offering I'm looking at the package right now, and the Charlotte Hornets trade LaMelo Ball to Minnesota for Ball and Josh Green were sent to Minnesota in exchange for Naz Reid, a 2033, unprotected first-round pick, and 3 first-round pick swaps, and 3 second-round picks. So let me try to just make sense of this. Minnesota sends out Naz Reid, 6th Man of the Year winner, who I think is going to be a 20-11 guy now, playing 35, 36 minutes, and he's only like 26 years old. They send him out along with an unprotected first in 2033, 3 first-round swaps, and 3 second-round picks. Was it that much of a stretch to get to, we'll send you Naz Reid and 2 firsts and 2 seconds? Like, it's basically the same deal. Like, they could have given up the same amount to bring back Jaylen Brown instead of LaMelo Ball. It makes absolutely no sense. And, like, that package would have been so much better for Boston. Like, who would you rather have? Naz Reid or Paul George? Would you rather have 26-year-old Naz Reid, ascendant player who's going to become a 20-10 guy that plays elite defense in the front court? Or would you rather have washed, bum-ass Paul George who's going to podcast more than he's going to play games and make $55 million?
Why not Randall and Naz Reid for Brown straight up? And you got Jason Tatum with Randall and Naz Reid and all those others. Derek White, who's a great point guard. You could have just done that.
Well, obviously Boston wanted as many picks as they could get back, I think. But that is a ton of picks Minnesota sent out to facilitate that LaMelo Ball trade. So I just don't know. Like, when you see certain deals and values from years past or whatever, obviously it doesn't make sense because the market factors are different. So those indicators are different. You can't really, you can't compare a trade, what someone gets for somebody like 3 or 4 years ago to what a package for someone is today. But we're in the same exact time right now. These deals are ongoing, like overlapping each other by like a day almost. Like, it's like one day this deal, then the next day this deal. So why are these packages looking so much better for these other teams than what Boston brings back from Philadelphia? It is just so utterly insane to me. And I just don't. The Celtics, honestly, there should be some kind of an investigation launched right now by the NBA, because something is not adding up when I look at this deal, what it sends to Boston. I mean, Boston went from the top. Gary, they've been the top of the conference. Now, yes, they choke every year in the playoffs, so they don't make it to the finals every year or win the championship every year. But they've been the best team in the Eastern Conference for like six or 7 years now. And they've been to one championship. That's it. I'm sorry. They went to 2. They lost to Golden State, and then they beat Dallas. So they've been to 2 championship rounds. They won 1 ring. That's it. And now the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum era is coming to an end. And it's coming to an end because of Paul George and 2 first rounders. It just doesn't add up. So the Celtics, I think, just a team that we have praised unanimously for years for how what a great run franchise they are and how they make all the right decisions and all that stuff. That all goes out the window at this point because this is just total madness. Look, obviously ownership had to sanction this. Like I was about to say I would fire Brad Stevens tomorrow, but it's not like Brad Stevens is just executing these deals on his own. This is something that's obviously run up the totem pole to the very top, and ownership was implicit on this deal. So I guess for whatever reason, the upper crust of the Boston Celtics felt this was the best they could get back. Though again, I saw better packages for LaMelo Ball and Kawhi Leonard in recent days. So I don't understand how this is the best they could get. I mean, Jaylen Brown must be thought of really poorly around NBA circles if this is the deal that ultimately was executed, or something is suspicious out there between these 2 teams, and it needs or requires an NBA probe, some kind of investigation to look into it, because again, I can't sort it out. Everything is it's just so crazy right now, Gary. But let's go ahead and get into some comments from the people. All right. Shall we? Welcome in again to all of you. Thank you guys so much for being here, for finding me at this special day and time. It seems like we have a lot of these special days and times in the next probably week or 2 with all of the breaking crazy things that are happening in the NBA. So make sure you are subscribed with notifications on to join us here. Let's welcome in Drizzy James 2K. What's up, Drizzy? Welcome back into you. I know you were here the other day as well. Gary, what's the question or comment this time from Drizzy?
Meanwhile, my Nuggets has yet to make a move. Oh, wait. I heard they wanted LeBron. We need good defense, and they want LeBron. It's over with in Denver. Crying emoji.
Drizzy, you and me both, because they're my Nuggets too. I make no secrets about it. I am a Nikola Jokic supporter and fan. I therefore, by extension, am a fan and supporter of the Denver Nuggets, and they are just a dreadful, moribund franchise. Inept ownership. The Kroenke family should be brought up on war crimes for what they've done to Nikola Jokic. Josh Kroenke, little Joshy Kroenke, one of the preeminent Nepo babies who's achieved absolutely nothing in his own life, has just been destroying that team. And yes, it looks like basically, Drizzy, unfortunately for us and for Jokic, unfortunately, there's going to be no moves made this summer other than dumping their 3rd best player for nothing in Cam Johnson, so they can re-sign Peyton Watson and then just run the team back with that. These guys, not that I wanted him, but they couldn't even close the deal with Bogdan Bogdanovic. Like, I didn't want him, but if you can't get Bogdan Bogdanovic at this point, who the hell can you get? The Denver Nuggets are going nowhere. The only thing I can hope, Drizzy, unfortunately, you're a Nuggets fan. Luckily, I'm not. I'm just a Jokic fan. So at this point, I'm just rooting for it to get as bad as possible. So Jokic gets as sick and tired and as fed up as possible, and he ends up leaving next summer, declining his player option and getting the hell out of Denver. So that's an easy fix for me, Drizzy. But as a Nuggets fan, not so easy for you, because your team will be plunged into the depths. I was going to say mediocrity, but more like heinous assiness is what you guys will be plunged into the depths of if Nikola Jokic leaves that pathetic loser franchise. He's the only thing keeping them afloat. All right. Oh boy. Next in, we've got Ivanin from Serbia. So this is not going to be probably a very favorable question or comment here. I would imagine he's probably completely disgusted and fed up like everybody else. But go ahead, Gary. What does Ivan have for us from Serbia? Welcome in, by the way, from Serbia.
This is like Wolves giving Ant to division rival Denver for Murray. Enjoy Celtics and Pandemic Pete. LeBron to Nuggets, that would be hilarious. Smiley face.
No, I want no part of LeBron James in Denver. He plays no defense at all. They need defensive pieces. They need elite defensive pieces. LeBron James does not constitute even like a modest defensive piece at this stage of his career. I have no doubt offensively, Nikola Jokic will make it work and it would look good offensively. But I would then have to root against Jokic and the Nuggets all year. Like the preeminent guy that I root for and that I am a fan of, I would have to be rooting against all next season or for however long he happens to play with LeBron James, because I do not want LeBron James getting a 5th NBA championship ring. So I want absolutely no part of LeBron James in Denver. Please, Kroenke family, you do nothing. You have done nothing for years. Just keep doing nothing as it pertains to bringing LeBron James into town, because I want no part of that. We got James Bush, 1008 is in next. What's up, James? Welcome into you. Thanks for finding us and being with us here tonight. Podcast P to the Celtics. Yeah, haha. Yes, you could put a lot more HAs in that haha, James Bush, because this deal is laughably absurd. I can't wait to see. Shams Charania, what are you doing, bro? Like, do your job. Get out, canvas, hit the concrete. Go figure some things out. Ask some questions. I want to know what the other packages look like. I want to know what the other teams that were engaged in serious trade conversations with the Celtics, I want to know what they were offering, damn it. I want to know exactly bullet points, this player, these picks. I want to know it all, because we need to launch a serious investigation into the veracity of this trade. This is, again, Brown is not the caliber of Doncic, but this deal stinks like that deal stunk, where it's like, who else was even involved? Were no other teams involved at all in this transaction? Like, that's how this deal feels like that Luka Doncic one felt. So I don't get it at all. The Incorruptible is in. Welcome in, my friend. Thank you so much, as always, for being here. I appreciate it. 2026 offseason trades. Yes. Woat, is that worst of all time? Because these offseason trades have all by and large been heinous. Like the big deal we've been waiting for all along, the Giannis Antetokounmpo deal, tepid, lukewarm, not exciting, not enthralling, not good for either team in my estimation. I think Milwaukee could have done better in the return, and I don't understand why Giannis would want to go there in the first place. They trade away Tyler Hero, their second or third best player. They lose Norman Powell in free agency. Their other whoever you had at second or third on that team, basically Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Norman Powell were their 3 best players last year. 2 of the 3 are gone now, and you've got practically no shooting. Yes, they get Tim Hardaway Jr. out of Denver. It's a nice pickup for them, especially at the value at $6.5 million. But they've got no shooting whatsoever. I just have no idea how that team's going to put up points this year. In the Lord's year of 2026, or next year, it will be 2027 in the NBA. I have no idea how they're going to score points with the lack of three-point shooting that they possess now at this point. And just overall, look at the rest of the Eastern Conference. I think the Raptors are better than the Heat. I think the Knicks are better than the Heat. The 76ers are probably better than the Heat at this point. I think the Hornets, the Hawks are better than the Heat. I mean, maybe the Heat have jumped over Boston at this point. Look, if you told a Miami fan this morning that the Heat were going to pass up Boston in the hierarchy of Eastern Conference teams by tonight, you would have been feeling pretty good about yourself. But unfortunately, it's because the Celtics are dropping down. So I think the Heat are the 5th, 6th best team maybe in the conference. And now I think maybe the Celtics are actually below them, which is crazy because, again, when this day started, they were the best team in that conference, in my opinion. So, none of this stuff is making up any sense. Incorruptible, I'm with you. These trades have been the worst of all time. The Out-of-Pocket Variety Show is up next. What's up? Welcome in, my friend. I appreciate it. Gary, what does the Out-of-Pocket Variety Show have to offer for us tonight?
Between Maxey, JB, and Embiid, how many field goal attempts is that combined per game? Not going to work, and it risks VJ's development getting stunted.
I think they're trying, I'm sure. I don't know if they'll be successful. I think they're probably going to be trying to move on from Joel Embiid's contract, is my estimation. And if they can do it, if they can pull that off.
Do you have any idea how they can do that, though?
Well, yes, Gary. Obviously, they're gonna need to find more assets. I'd have to look at their draft sheet, their pick sheet right now, and see what picks they control. Moving on from between basically probably 2029 to 2035 at this point, but they would probably have to attach 2 or 3 future firsts to Joel Embiid, which is what I thought they were gonna have to do. Attach a first-round pick to Paul George to get him out. But all they did was attach 2 firsts and brought back Jaylen Brown. So I don't know. They've obviously, the discussions have been being had. They're trying to get rid of Embiid and Paul George. I just didn't think anybody in the NBA would be stupid enough to take either of them, and let alone the Boston Celtics, who send Jaylen Brown as part of the framework of that package. It's just unbelievable stupidity in my estimation. But and look, Out-of-Pocket Variety Show, even if Joel Embiid is still on that roster next year, I mean, how many games is he going to play anyway? 30, 35? He's not going to be available in the playoffs anyway. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? But I am with you. Maxey, just looking at the backcourt, Maxey and Brown and Edgecombe, I mean, that could be a bit of a crowded backcourt, but I still like it. You know, you got Edgecombe there. He's young and up and coming. And to me, the pairings of Maxey and Brown in the backcourt, it's the best backcourt in the NBA, in my opinion. Maxey isn't that great defensively, obviously, but Jaylen Brown is. So, you get that dynamic or that element as well. So, I mean, I like the deal. I don't know how Jaylen Brown's going to feel about it. I don't think he's going to hate it. Some of the destinations I was hearing about for Jaylen Brown, look, I mean, Boston and Philly, not that far away. Philly's a huge city. They're like the 5th biggest city market-wise in the United States of America. That he's pairing with other superstars. Tyrese Maxey, again, 3rd-team All-NBA last year. I think he's a pretty underrated player. I don't know where he ended, 2nd or 3rd, I think, league-wide in scoring last year. Let me check that. Actually, Gary, can you just check that out for me real quick? Let me know where Maxey ended up finishing in scoring last season. I know Luka led the league in scoring. I think Shea might have got up to number 2, and then it was Maxey after that, is what it is to the best of my memory. But I might be misremembering things. And then Maxey had a pretty good playoff run. I really liked his postseason performance, particularly in that 3-1 comeback against the Boston Celtics. Gary, you can just go ahead. 5th. Can you name me who were in front of him? Obviously, Shea and Luka, and who else?
It is Luka, Shea, Ant-Man, Jaylen Brown, and Tyrese Maxey.
So you're getting the 4th and 5th leading scorers in the NBA last year in the same backcourt now if you're Philadelphia. And so both around probably 28 points per game last year in Maxey and Brown. That is a dynamic backcourt. And again, Maxey not an elite defender, but Brown is. I think that backcourt works. I do. I like it. I love the deal. I love the deal for Philly. I love it. They get out from Paul George's contract and they bring back Jaylen Brown and build the best backcourt in the NBA. So the deal is an excellent deal for Philadelphia. I give it an A, and I give it for Boston an F-. I couldn't hate it anymore. Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to ask, and how do you think that is, to his point? How do you think that's going to affect VJ Edgecombe's development?
Well, there's obviously going to be less shots to go around for VJ. There's no doubt about that.
I think he's a emerging star. I think he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I just want to check and see the shot distribution last year. We have Maxey with 21 attempts per game. That's a lot. That is a high. Like, that's going to come down now. VJ Edgecombe with 14 shot attempts per game last year. And Joel Embiid, when he actually played, 18 shot attempts. So that 21.4 attempts per game is high for Maxey. There's no doubt. And Jaylen Brown last year shot at 21.7. So yes, to the point of the out-of-pocket variety show. And I think up even before that, someone mentioned the shots or the shot attempts or whatever. That's a cumulative 42 attempts per game last year for Brown and Maxey. So that's obviously going to come down. That number is going to go down for both players. It'll be interesting. Maybe Brown won't like it because Brown has been wanting to be like the alpha, the like definitive leader of a team. He loved what he did last year. He loved the season, the opportunity that he had last year to get those 22 shots. And now he's going to a team with a guy who shot 21 times a game last year, and Maxey, who's an ascendant, up-and-coming all-NBA caliber player himself. So maybe he won't like it all that much. But for the Philadelphia 76ers, I think it was a terrific move and a great trade and just an atrocious trade for the Boston Celtics. We've got Sarah is up next. What's up and welcome in, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here. Sarah is here now seemingly every day. Anytime I go live, you seem to be on now at this point. So Sarah, I appreciate you. Obviously, she has those notifications on. Guys, please be more like Sarah and turn those notifications on. She thinks the Celtics definitely will be drafting number 1 now. I don't know if they're that bad, but I mean,
I think she may be implying it's going to be rigged for them the same way it was for the Mavericks.
Oh, well, that is a distinct possibility, Sarah. Right. Because yeah, if Dallas got Cooper Flagg when they traded away Luka Doncic, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. But while I don't think they're going to be drafting number 1, look, they were 56-26 last year. That was the 4th best record in the NBA. The only teams that won more than Boston last year: Oklahoma 64 wins, San Antonio 62, Detroit 60. That's it. 56 wins for the Pistons. The team with the next most wins behind them were the Nuggets with 54. Now at this point, Detroit's better than Boston. New York's better than Boston. Cleveland's better than Boston. Toronto is better than Boston. Atlanta is better than Boston. Philly is better than Boston. Orlando is better than Boston. Charlotte is better than Boston. And Miami's better than Boston. I think you can make a case for all of that. Maybe Indiana too. Like, Boston is going to surprise me, I'm sure, and make that commentary look foolish. So I don't want to say they're not going to make the play-in or they're not going to win through the play-in, but they very well might be in the play-in. Like at the very best, to me, they're going to be like the 5 seed next year now. So they go from the 2 seed with just Jaylen Brown to, I think they're going to drop to the 5 now at this point. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's not over yet. It's July 1 at 8:00 p.m. on the East Coast. We will see what other trades are to come this cycle or what other moves or signings that the Boston Celtics are planning on making. But as of right now, I don't get it and I don't like it at all. Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to ask you, so what do you think about, they're going to have Mitchell Robinson now. So what do you think about that? How do you think that helps him. Do you think that affects him at all?
I mean, it doesn't really move the needle to me all that much. A big contract for him, quite frankly. 3-year, $47 million deal. I didn't think he was going to command that amount of money. But yes, the Knicks lose Mitchell Robinson today as he signs that 3-year, nearly $50 million deal with the Boston Celtics. I mean, Gary, we're talking about a guy who's going to be 28 years old next year. Been in the NBA for 8 years. You know, that's not a small sample size. His career averages are 7.5 points per game and 8 rebounds. So, I don't know. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I guess he's going to start for them. He's started 215 games in his career of the 397 that he's played. So, a fringe starter. He starts half the games, basically. It's okay. I mean, I'm not enamored. I don't think it does anything one way or the other for the Celtics. Not like trading away Jaylen Brown for a small bag of chips and a used stick of chewing gum. I don't think it affects them in that capacity in the good direction. So no, I don't really think that changes my mind on the Celtics outlook. I do not think they're in home court advantage range now. Like maybe they're somewhere between 5 through 8 where they end. So I do not think that they're going to be a 1 through 4 seed. And this is a team that has been perennially a 1 or 2 seed in the East for like the last 7 years, even this year when they didn't have Tatum for a lot of the year. So I think that reign is over now. That run is ended for the Boston Celtics now moving forward. I'm interested to see what moves come next now. Let me take a look at the Boston Celtics books real fast.
LeBron.
Next year they had $182 million on the book committed next year. Now 57 of it's coming. Well, no, I can't even say that because they absorb Paul George in. So 57 million out on Jaylen Brown, but 54 million in on Paul George. So you've got 182 million committed. I mean, a couple team options they can decline, but not much. 3 total team options, totaling 6 million in all. So like they've got $25-ish million to work with right now. Like what realistically can they do with $25 million before they hit luxury tax zone? I don't know. There's got to be some other trade coming or something. Or maybe they're going to trade Tatum too, and they're just blowing their whole team up and they're going into full-blown rebuild mode. And they've got like a 5 to 7 year plan to do that. At this point, that is the only thing that would make remote sense to me now. But even if that was the case, I would still stipulate they should have gotten more back. They should have commanded more picks than what they got. And not Paul George. It's not even an expiring contract. He still has 2 years. Like, it's not like it's just 1 year of $55 million of Paul George. They got Paul George at 36 years old for $54 million. And then Paul George at 37 years old next year at $56 million. That's terrible. This is just terrible team building by the Boston Celtics. I don't understand. Good teams are just throwing it all away right now, Gary. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves were a viable contender. They just threw it all away, in my estimation, this offseason. The Boston Celtics were a good team. Look, Gary, just like 2 years ago or whatever, 3 years ago now, I thought we were going to get the Timberwolves and the Celtics in the NBA Finals. The Timberwolves got to the West Finals, got upset by the 5-seeded Dallas Mavericks, and then the Boston Celtics won the NBA championship that season. You could have made a case going into the next league year that maybe Minnesota and Boston were 2 of the title favorites. Now they're afterthoughts. They have completely imploded and destroyed their own teams in the span of one 3-week span for both. Like, it's just shocking team mismanagement going on right now on a grand scale throughout the NBA. Denver, I'm just waiting for Denver to say, hold my beer, because they are the biggest fraud of a franchise there is, with probably the worst set of owners and front office management of any team in the entire NBA. So I'm just waiting to see, how can they possibly up the ante from what we've seen from the dreadful and heinous mismanagements that we have been seeing going on now. How can the Nuggets go ahead and raise the bar even more? Because if anybody can do it, it's them. And you got to figure they're getting sick and tired of hearing about how pathetic and lousy all these other organizations are. They want to get in the mix. They want to remind people, hey, don't forget about us. Look at how putrid, pathetic, and inept we are. Check this shit out. So you got to think the Denver Nuggets are going to be doing that any freaking day now, which is why I am still refreshing all of the pages, all of the adequate pages right now on my interweb browser. But let's get to this next comment.
Sarah, let me know in the chat, how would you feel if LeBron went to Minnesota?
I don't like, honestly, maybe he would help them. Maybe he would help Denver, but I don't care. I don't want him there. And I don't think he would help them. He would probably sabotage their offense in some way, and we know he wouldn't be adding anything defensively to them. Next in is Butterfly. Thank you very much, Butterfly, and welcome into you. Spurs could have got rid of Fox if Boston wanted, just like you said, Gary. Similar contracts. De'Aaron Fox is a hell of a lot better than Paul George at this point.
Right.
And he provides them with ball handling and ISO scoring, which they lose now with Jaylen Brown going out. So, and the Spurs have a plethora of draft capital, and they don't really need it at this point, Gary. Their team is basically built. So, they've got a lot of draft stuff to expend. So why not? Yeah, get out of De'Aaron Fox. You get out from De'Aaron Fox. You bring in Jaylen Brown, who, yes, is like 29, 30, a little bit off of the timeline of those other guys on the team, but still young enough, really good at defense. He would have plugged right in there, and he would have been exactly what the Spurs, I think, needed down the stretch, which is that isolationist in the half court. When you're up against the shot clock, when you're playing a good defensive team, when they're dug in on you in playoffs and possessions are limited and the game slows or whatever, and you need that isolation specialist. Like, they didn't really have that last year because I think Victor Wembanyama still doesn't quite have that offensive diversity yet. And the other players, quite frankly, are just too young. So Jaylen Brown would have shored all that up while providing another dynamic defensive piece on the perimeter. Why not? Like, they could have built a package around De'Aaron Fox, would have been they could have sent the same exact pick portfolio out around De'Aaron Fox to Boston that Philadelphia did. I mean, that's a good point, Butterfly. And to Gary's point, who said it earlier, I don't understand what these other teams are doing. Like, I guess, Gary, it boils down to this. The answer is always no if you don't ask the question, right? You got to shoot your shot. Like, how many times in life, like, maybe might you have not applied for that job because you don't think your resume is adequate? How many times did you see that girl sitting in the bar that you didn't think that you could go up and talk to? Like, how many opportunities do you let slip through your fingertips throughout the span of your life because you're afraid to just ask the question, or you don't think you have enough of what it takes? Well, apparently these NBA teams are sitting back and saying, oh, surely we don't possess an adequate package to get Jaylen Brown out of Boston. You miss every shot. You miss 100 of the 100 shots you do not take. Shooters got to shoot. Like, you got to just drop your pants. You got to get in front of these teams and offer your pathetic middling package, because who the hell knows, maybe, just maybe, you could be getting Jaylen Brown for Paul George and 2 first-round picks. It's insane. Like, Philadelphia probably called up Boston and were like expecting Boston to fart in the phone or something to that offer, or to drop the phone because they were laughing uncontrollably. And instead, they're like, oh, yeah, I like the sound of that. Paul George, Podcast P, and two firsts. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and execute this trade. Like, it's ridiculous. So more power to Philadelphia for shooting their shot. That's big D alpha mentality by the Philadelphia 76ers, obviously. You miss 100 shots that you don't take. The Spurs obviously should have been shooting their shot with that De'Aaron Fox package. We've got Mike Ross, 6767. And what's up, Mike? Welcome back to the show, my friend. I appreciate it. Gary, what does Mike have for us tonight?
Rob Pelinka and Brad Stevens going band for band, ruining their franchises.
I mean, honestly, Pelinka is looking okay right now.
He's redeeming.
I mean, he got rid of LeBron. It really wasn't his doing, though it kind of was. The Lakers kind of got rid of LeBron. You know, it was kind of like, you can't break up with me, I dump you, or you can't fire me because I quit. Like, that's essentially what happened with LeBron James saying, oh, no, you don't want me? Well, too bad, because I don't want to play for you next year. But so the Lakers kind of got rid of LeBron. How much of that was Pelinka? Probably not much. But they needed a big. They needed a home run kind of a caliber big. Walker Kessler is concerning because of his health and his lack of availability. Again, he's played in only 201 of 328 potential games in his 4-year NBA career to this point, which includes 5 games played total last season. He had shoulder surgery. These are concerning things to me if I'm trading for Walker Kessler and throwing 4 years, $130 million at him. But nonetheless, the 2 best bigs on the market this year, the consensus best bigs this year in NBA free agency, Kessler and Doran are both restricted, but still Jaylen Doran and Walker Kessler. And the Lakers get one of the 2 best bigs on the market, and he fits the profile of what the Lakers need. They need an elite rebounder, rim protector, and a guy that can catch lobs and shit from Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. So he profiles nicely if he can get on the court and stay healthy. So that's the big if right now at this point. So I think Pelinka, honestly, is looking better. Right now, Brad Stevens and little Joshy Kroenke, the Nepo idiot, in Denver, are basically running stride for stride right now in the race for worst team executive in the NBA. So, and I would say Nico Harrison, but he got fired and he is obviously unemployed right now. So he's not in the mix. So right now it's Brad Stevens and Joshy Kroenke. And how the mighty have fallen, because the boy genius Brad Stevens was like one of the top executives in the NBA for several years. And now he looks just like the village idiot at this point. We've got Timothy Miller, 4475 is in next. What's up, Tim? Welcome into you. He says, I'm from Cape Cod. This is sick. Why did they do this? Timothy, I don't blame you in the least for being sick, because I am not affiliated with or fans of in any way, shape, or form the Boston Celtics. And I am sick right now because I see this pathetic trade that I wish. Not that, again, I really wanted Brown in Denver for Nikola Jokic, but if it would have got Jamal Murray out, I would have definitely wholeheartedly endorsed it. But just how little the package is, the only way I could be more angry right now about this trade is if LeBron was like still on the Lakers and the Lakers got Jaylen Brown for this price. Like, that's the only way I could have been more disgusted. So I don't think LeBron is going to go to Philly. Like, I don't think Philadelphia is in the running. So I don't care. Although maybe it will be now. Maybe he'll go join Joel Embiid and Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey. Maybe LeBron James will go to Philly now too. Who knows? Maybe they're one of the 12 to 14 teams. I was going to check their books, but it doesn't matter because LeBron seemingly is willing to play for as little as the vet minimum next year. So maybe LeBron will go. Maybe Gary, it will be Tyrese Maxey, LeBron James, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, and Joel Embiid. Maybe that's going to be the Philadelphia Sixers starting 5. That actually would be a very formidable starting 5. Like, they would be. Joel Embiid obviously isn't going to be able to hold up, but if they could, so they need to address their center situation in some capacity. But otherwise, that would probably be a contending team, I fear. So maybe Braun is sniffing around the city of brotherly love now. So that will then annoy me. Then I will be even more annoyed and disgusted by this trade at that point. Wolfsbane, meanwhile, checks in next. What's up, Wolfsbane? Welcome into you, my friend. As always, my pleasure to have you here. This is like if the Lakers trading AR to the Nuggets. Well, I don't know. Is it like that, Wolfsbane? What are we talking about? The trade? First of all, I don't really want AR on the Nuggets, but again, if I'm ready to, I'll take one of these bag of chips and use chewing gum deals for Jamal Murray at this point. Like if they could just get Jamal off the books and not take back a dreadful $55 million back in return, I would sign up for that. I'd sanction that trade in a heartbeat. So if they could get anything of use in addition to getting Jamal off the books, I would take that. And all kidding aside, though, Jamal Murray's value is a hell of a lot higher than Paul George. To me, Cam Johnson's value is higher than Paul George. So the fact that they had two guys, maybe allegedly, reportedly, the Celtics did, on the table from Denver, two guys that are both drastically better than Paul George and a first-round pick. And if they turned that deal down, I quite frankly don't understand what's going on here in Boston. But something illegal, that's what. And that's why the NBA needs to expedite some kind of an investigation if that's the case, if that package was actually on the table. I would be calling foul right now if I were ownership in Denver and I saw that trade executed and I had made this offer. I would be calling foul. I would call up the league office and be like, something is awry here. Like this definitely needs to be investigated, because otherwise, maybe though all of those deals are smoke screens. Maybe the speculative deals that we've been hearing about, maybe those aren't actually on the table. Maybe those teams didn't in reality make those offers. Otherwise, there's no other explanation for why this is the deal. This is like the seventh best deal I've seen or heard of in recent days. And it's for like arguably the best player. I mean, yes, Giannis is the best player if he's healthy. We don't know if he will be. Kawhi Leonard might be the second best player if he's healthy, but we don't know if he will be. Jaylen Brown is going to be available next year. Like, he's the most durable of those guys, and he was second team All-NBA last year. So look at these numbers, like 29 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists on 48% shooting from the field last year, MVP 6, NBA 2. So he was All-NBA second team, and he was 6th in league MVP voting last year. He's made the All-Star game 4 years in a row. He was All-NBA in 2023. And, of course, in the playoffs back in the 2024 postseason, Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP. That guy, Paul George and 2 firsts. Stupefying. Super Q2Q is in next. What's up, Super Q? A bag of chips and chewed up gum. That's right, Super Q2Q. I said it and I mean it, damn it. The package going back for Jaylen freaking Brown is a bag of chips and a used up, chewed up stick of gum. And again, not a family-sized bag of chips either, a vending machine-sized bag of chips. That is how pathetic and laughable that package was that Philadelphia sent out and got Jaylen Brown. I seriously can't believe it. Like, the only thing I can compare it to, which it doesn't happen in my fantasy football league per se, Gary, because my fantasy football league it's a pretty high stakes league, and the guys are obsessed. Like, every guy, it's a 14-man league. Yeah. It's a 14-man league, and every guy basically knows like the number 7 wide receiver and the number 4 running back on every single team. So like, you don't fleece guys in trades there. But like, the only thing I can think of that's comparable is like when you text someone about a trade in fantasy football, like basically just throwing shit at them, right? Like just like throwing a guy that you're going to cut on the next drop ad cycle and for like a good player, suggesting it for a good player, and they say yes. Like, that is pretty much what
commissioner vetoes that. That's not allowed. That's cheating. You can't because it makes it's because then you have an advantage against the rest of the league. So
and right, we do have
veto
stuff. There is an independent trade council that has to approve by majority that is not involved in the league. But Gary, you get my gist. What I'm saying is
I used to do it.
That is the equivalency of what we just saw on this pathetic trade that Boston just executed.
Yeah, Commissioner Silver wasn't doing his job. But Mr. Stern did when it came to Chris Paul to LA. And they can't have that because that was about to end LeBron.
Don't get me started on that, Gary. That's another conversation for another day. The cheapest voided trade in league history. I don't even hear of trades being voided ever. The only voided trade in league history, basically, the one that would have netted Kobe probably 6, maybe 7 NBA championship rings. But again, that's probably a hypothetical for another day. We've got Karthik Shankar 1 is in next. What's up, Karthik? Welcome into you. Gary, what is the question or comment from Karthik tonight?
We knew Celtics wanted to trade Brown badly, but didn't think they wanted to trade away so badly that they took podcast P in return. Shaking my head, face palm emoji.
Pandemic,
we hear you, brother.
Pandemic P and 2 firsts for Jaylen Brown, 29-year-old All-NBA second-team performer who averaged 29 points per game and was 6th in league MVP voting last year. I just don't know. I don't know how many more times I can question this or make fun of it. It's just it's not going to change seemingly. Like it is. The deal is the deal. So I don't get it. And that is Quentin Richardson, I'm seeing, who is apparently now an NBA analyst for ESPN. And he probably shouldn't be an NBA analyst for ESPN much longer because he thinks that the 76ers Celtics trade is good for both teams. So they should obviously swiftly fire Q, in my opinion there. Okay, yes. Sorry, Karthik. I just wanted to make sure we did get to this question. Podcast B, like at least, hey, maybe like he's going to publicize, I guess that's going to be good publicity for Boston. You're going to be more involved. The Celtics will be now in the social market, the social media market, because you're going to have Podcast P, running his daily podcasts during games on the road when they're traveling. I mean, he only plays, Gary, roughly half the time anyway. So it's really only like 35 to 40 games a year that will be interrupted by his podcasting. So no issues there, I guess. Karthik, welcome back, and we'll go back to back with Karthik. Did Nico get hired to the Celtics front office? That's a great question. I don't think so, but that really is one of the few scenarios that I've heard now that would make sense in some capacity, that Nico Harrison was now pulling the strings in Boston to produce one of the worst trades, arguably the worst trade I've seen, at least one of them outside of the Luka Doncic trade. So I don't know, Karthik. I can look into that for sure. That will be an easy search or Google search on my behalf. So I'll have to keep you posted on that and let you know. But good suggestion. That's one of the few good suggestions that I've seen to this point. Roger Hurt, 5569, up next. What's up, Roger? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting us. I appreciate you. Gary, what is the question or comment from Roger?
Celtics trade PG to Denver for Jokic and 2 first-round picks. Why? Because Denver. That's why. Next up, LeBron joins Philly to be with Embiid, Maxey, and Brown. And
yeah, like I said, I hope not. Maybe Braun will now be sniffing around the city of brotherly love as well. Hopefully not. That would be crazy because the fantasy football team that I talk about, they're mainly all in Philly, and they are diehard Philly sports advocates. So they will be rooting like so hard for LeBron next year. And they know, obviously, I go back years. I've been in this league for like 14 years now. So they know my level of disdain for LeBron. So that would add a whole new dynamic to next year's fantasy football season. So I hope not, but it's definitely a possibility, I feel like. Denver, look, Roger, don't get your hopes up. While Denver are a bunch of inept morons, and I mean everybody in Denver in the front office and the ownership group, inept morons. They are not stupid enough to trade away their show pony, Nikola Jokic, because no matter how inept and how pathetic they are at their jobs, they know that they fell ass backwards into a fringe top 10 all-time NBA player with the 41st pick in the second round of the NBA draft. And now he is the great eraser, meaning that he covers up all of their inadequacies and failures, no matter how inept they are and how much of a failure they are at executing their job. They know that Nikola is not only going to win 50 to 55 games with whatever they run out around him, but they also know that Nikola is going to sell out that arena every single night for 41 games in the regular season, and how many ever games they can win in the postseason, and how many ever home games they get to play in the postseason. So they will likely never trade Nikola Jokic, sadly enough, for Nikola Jokic. So it's going to have to become incumbent on him to force that move on his own. And he doesn't have to force or demand anything. He can play out his existing contract this upcoming season, and then he can decline his player option for 2028, and then he's a free agent in the summer next summer. And then the best player, in my estimation, since Kobe Bryant will be a free agent at the age of 32. That would be quite a spectacle. That would be quite the off-season free agent extravaganza, as we're seeing obviously this year and every year. Basically, there's some crazy stories typically going on. That would be one of the craziest we've seen in several years. But I do not think that Denver will be dumb enough, unfortunately for us. They're dumb, but not that dumb, to trade Nikola Jokic. Medved Ted, what's up, brother? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for being here. Gary, what's Medved Ted got for us?
It's a complete crap. Celtics are cooked. 2027 Eastern Conference Finals will be Knicks and Raptors. Kawhi and Coach Darko are going to run the East.
I believe that. I believe that, look, Kawhi's got to stay healthy, first and foremost. He's got to be healthy for the playoffs. But if he is, I love that pairing of I like RJ Barrett. Like, I really like him as a player. Emmanuel Quigley is obviously a nice player. And then Scotty Barnes is a star. I think he was 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting this year. He was All NBA defense as well. Let me just make sure I'm not talking out of my ass here. Defensive Player of the Year 5. So he finished 5th in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was an all-star, and he was defensive second team. Yeah, so everything I said is right. 18 points per game as well. 18 and 8. 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. To go along with that, he played 80 games. Scotty Barnes is an absolute stud. 6'8", 240 pounds. One of the best young up-and-coming players in my estimation. And I love RJ Barrett too. You throw Kawhi Leonard in the mix with that tandem with those two, yeah, you're on to something here, Toronto. Darko is on to something here. My main guy, Darko Rajakovic. I can absolutely, Medved Ted, see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see what Detroit does. They won 60 games. We got to give them some credit and respect, obviously. We'll see what they do in this offseason, see what happens with Jalen Duren, see what they add as a secondary scorer to go along and assist Cade Cunningham. They got some work to do, though, in my opinion. The Celtics just made themselves a lot worse. The Cavaliers, we can't really take them seriously come playoff time. Yeah, I think the Knicks and the Raptors might be the two best teams in the Eastern Conference now at this point. Shout out to Toronto with a bold move. We've got Dakota Laird Brock, maybe. How'd I do, Gary? Do you think I did that right? I don't know. Dakota, yeah. Sorry to mangle that if I did, but Dakota, thank you for being here and welcome to you. LaBarbie is going back to Vice City. I don't know where LaBarbie is going, quite frankly. I would have thought yesterday that it was Golden State definitively, like in a slam dunk, that he was going to make the announcement maybe yesterday, maybe that he was going to rise out of a stage on some kind of a lifter device during pyrotechnic smoke show with Draymond Green and Steph Curry. And they were going to talk about not 40, not 42, not 43, as in games 1 for next season. I thought that was going to happen last night. It didn't. Apparently, Rich Paul's phone is just ringing off the hook, if you believe what he has to say about LeBron James and the interest that he is generating in league circles right now. 12 to 14 different teams, 40% of the league, according to Little Rich. So we'll see who all is in play. Obviously, Vice City, a fictional 1980s Miami derivative, I guess. So I don't know, though. Miami, to me, still feels like a long shot, but they can offer certain things. They could say, look, LaBarbie, you can come in. You don't have to play any defense at all. We got former Defensive Player of the Year Giannis Antetokounmpo and a perennial kind of fringe All-NBA defensive team selected player in Bam Adebayo. We'll just let those guys erase things at the rim. Don't bother yourself with that. And then how about this, Whopper? You can bring, or I should say, the Burger King. You can bring Whopper Jr. with you as well. LeBronny James Jr. Yeah, bring him along. We'll trade for him or whatever. And because our team is so thin right now, we have practically no ball handlers at all, no shooters at all. Bronny is going to play extensive minutes. Hell, Bronny might even start at point guard a couple games next year, but certainly he'll be getting at least 20, 25 minutes a game off the bench. So you and Junior could run together for the next 2 seasons in Miami. I mean, that's not a terrible pitch by the Heat. So I guess at the very least, Dakota, LeBron is probably going to hear that pitch out from Pat Riley and listen to it. And then I think that team does not have enough shooting to succeed in the playoffs, but it will be an interesting team nonetheless. And I think they will be a competitive team in the Eastern Conference at that point. Go ahead, Gary.
If Braun went to Miami, I know this sounds funny, but technically, couldn't he just run the point if he wanted to? I mean, it's a better option than Bronny.
But he is. I mean, Gary, he's 40. He's going to be 42 in December. He played.
Well, he doesn't have to play 48 minutes. I mean, like half the.
I think the plan is probably to keep LeBron at around 65 games and at or under 30 minutes. And much stuff. Like if you want him to play point and score whatever, 20 points per game, I just don't know. Like it's asking.
I got it. Bronny goes there and then pulls Chris Paul out of retirement. Chris Paul is slow, but he's still smart though. And I'm talking these guys are getting paid if they'll take like the league minimum.
Right. I mean, look, they're according to Rich, they're looking for people to make moves to prove to them why LeBron should want to go there. Like not just the pitch alone apparently is going to be adequate or sufficient. You're going to have to show LeBron something. So like Golden State is trying to show LeBron by going to get Anthony Davis. So yeah, who knows? Maybe Pat Riley can start up the banana boat and pick up CP3 and head to South Beach and scoop up La Banana James, and the three of them could ride off into the sunset towards the Miami setting sun, and we can have CP3 and LeBron finally get that team up that they had been so coveting for so many years. I don't see that happening. But who knows? Maybe. I mean, Chris Paul, I think he sounded like he was pretty content in retirement, but
right.
I don't know. I mean, they're very capped right now, Gary. They can't
with
afford
that front
much.
Court does. Yeah, all they need is a serviceable point guard with that front court. Tim Hardaway's a great, and they've got Andrew Wiggins too.
I like the Tim Hardaway. Well, they don't have Andrew Wiggins as a player option.
I'm sorry. Wait. I'm getting them mixed up. I'm getting Andrew and Aaron mixed up. The one that used to play, the one that got traded to the Timberwolves, Kevin Love. That's Andrew, right?
Andrew. Yeah.
The rigging for Wiggins. Okay. Yeah, he signed the $64 million contract with the Heat, right? And he's at the 3. Extend? Yeah, I think so. So I'm saying if you have Wiggins at the 3, Tim Hardaway at the 2, you just need a serviceable point guard. And I mean, if Bronny, I'm sorry, if LeBron did go there, like him and Tim could share the point guard, can swap back and forth, and you just get another serviceable point guard. I'm just saying that the front court of Miami is so dynamic that really you just need some quality players around them. The problem is other teams have a lot more depth.
Yeah, let me just try to figure out, because this isn't an accurate depiction of their books. They were showing 163, but they got 33 out in Hero. But then they brought back like 57 in Giannis. So they're at like 187 right now. The expected cap is like 200 even. And then they signed for 6.5 today, Tim Hardaway Jr. So, I mean, they're inching up there. They're like $193 million right now. So like they're very close to being capped. And that it's hard to maneuver. Like if it's your own free agents, you can kind of break the cap more. It's harder to maneuver in the luxury tax and in the first apron or either apron. It's harder to maneuver around the free agent market when you're capped. So I don't know exactly what they can offer, what they can do. Honestly, look, I joke around. Bronny is not, to me, a realistic or a serviceable NBA player, but he would get minutes with Miami probably next year. Like that's a reality. So, I mean, who knows? It's with what's been going on right now in this cycle, nothing would shock or surprise me at this point with things that teams do around the league or what LeBron James's ultimate decision is. Like nothing is going to surprise me at this point. Rand Moss 45, what's up, brother? Welcome in. Thank you so much, as always, for joining us here. Gary, what does Rand have in the form of a question or comment for us?
Sup, Skap and Skap and Gary, in your estimation, are the Lakers real contenders in the West with their recent trades and upgrades? Can they beat OKC, Spurs, Minnesota? Rand Moss, please don't put Minnesota in the same category as OKC and the Spurs.
Yeah, Minnesota's out. Houston, look, if Houston gets all their players back, they just added Marcus Smart. I think Houston's going to be like the third best team in the Western Conference behind Oklahoma City and San Antonio. But the Lakers, look, I need to see a little bit more. I think Kessler is a nice add for them, yes. I need, like I said, they lose Marcus Smart, though, which is a huge loss for them. I'd like to see the rest of what the Lakers are doing. They're on the right path, but I don't know if they can do enough this summer to make them a viable contender next year. I think they'll be improved. Obviously, I don't know what that would look like. Maybe the 4 seed, but I think they were the 4 or 5 last year, so that wouldn't be a marked improvement from last season. But I like, depending on what Houston's planning this summer. And I don't know why Houston didn't get in on the Jaylen Brown trade either. I have so many questions about this Jaylen Brown trade, but I don't think the Lakers can viably at this point beat Oklahoma or San Antonio. I think they're closer now to being competitive. I think if they play one of those teams, which they likely will in the playoffs next year, I think it will be like a 6-game series or something like that. It won't be a sweep like it was last year, but no, I don't think that they can beat them. Not yet. They just haven't done enough yet this summer. And quite frankly, I don't know that they can, but they're on the right track, I think. Twisted Clown, what's up? Welcome back in, Twisted Clown. You were obviously a very proactive member yesterday, so glad to have you back tonight. I appreciate it. Skap, you mean it's a complete crap of a trade? Yes, it is a complete crap of a trade. Also, in the words of the legendary Darko Rajakovic, it's outrageous, is what this trade is. Undeniably one of the worst trades I've ever seen, which is why that was the title of this live stream. Celtics complete one of the worst trades ever, sending Jaylen Brown to Philly. It's just outrageous. So yes, maybe I did mean that, Twisted Clown. Thank you for correcting me. Malcolm Tent, 2026 is up next. What's up, Malcolm? Thank you for your generous donation. I appreciate you very much, Gary. What is the question or comment from Malcolm?
There are a lot of teams dumping salaries. Does this say something about the financial health of the NBA? I know basketball-related income came up short in 2024-25, causing the players to lose money.
Well, look, I think the dumping the salaries that we see right now and making financial moves, I think it has more to do with the new structures of the aprons right now, and they are highly punitive. It is very difficult to maneuver around the NBA offseason in any capacity if you are in either of the aprons. If you're in the second apron, you basically can't do anything at all. So I think it has more to do with teams drastically trying to get outside of the aprons because of the punitive nature, the highly punitive nature of being in them. And secondarily, some of these owners are just cheap as hell. And there are financial things that happen to you as well, not just your ability to maneuver around trades and signings and stuff. There's also very steep fines that are being initiated by the league offices the further you get to the apron. So like the luxury tax is tier 1, then the first apron, then the second apron, and those taxes and the fines keep going up. So like the Denver Nuggets, they're just, quite frankly, they're cheap and they don't want to pay those taxes and fines. So there's a little bit of that going on too. Not only has the NBA elevated the penalties and stuff from a basketball operations standpoint, they're also hitting you in the pocketbook as well. They're making those financial, those dollar symbol fines and penalties steeper too. So I think that's the combination, Malcolm, of why you're seeing so many teams try so desperately to avoid getting into those aprons. And it's not a good place to be at all. Miami obviously is flirting. We just talked about them with that first apron. The Denver Nuggets at current are in the first apron as well. So those are teams that really can't offer a whole lot to LeBron. It's just the minimum is all they'll be able to muster. And again, according to Rich Paul, though, that doesn't matter because LeBron James isn't going to be making this decision for financial reasons. Why would he be? He's 42 years old next year. He's worth over $1 billion. Like, who cares how little you make next year? He obviously should be making decisions for other reasons. If it were me and I was sitting there with only 4 rings in 23 years, the reason I would be making the decision would be to win another ring. But LeBron just cites happiness as what he wants out of his next team, the next destination. So we'll have to wait and see what that is exactly, what makes LeBron the happiest. Wolfsbane back in for another one. Thank you. Welcome back in, Wolfsbane. I appreciate it. Gary, go ahead with his latest question or comment.
I'm going back a bit, but this is like if the 1980 Birds Celtics gave the Dr. J 76ers Cedric Maxwell after losing the Eastern Conference Finals. It doesn't make sense.
Again, I just can't for the life of me understand it. I don't think talking about it or continually saying I don't understand it isn't going to make any more sense for me. I get it, but I'm just surprised, shocked. It's been roughly 2 hours since I've heard this deal, and I just simply don't get it. I'm looking forward to trying to unpack it or make as much sense of it as possible over the next couple hours once I get off here. I might do a video on it afterwards, maybe not. There's some other video I was working on that I kind of wanted to get done for tomorrow. But I just don't get it. I don't know what several other teams were doing or thinking, why they weren't involved or engaged in these conversations, why they didn't send a package out, because this simply just can't be the best package. I just refuse to believe that. No matter how off Boston was with the consensus league-wide of Jaylen Brown's value, I can't imagine that this was the best package, the best they could have done. Like, at that point, again, I'm just going to relate this back to fantasy football. At that point, when you really want to get rid of a guy and you're dealing with 1 or 2 teams, like, and you're not getting the return you want or the return you think you deserve for that player, then you just start canvassing yourself. Like, you start reaching out to other guys and other teams. Like, why wouldn't Boston, if this was the best you thought you were getting or you were seeing, why would you not just start reaching out to other teams then on your own behalf and start proposing different deals? Like, this is madness, this trade. It's just sheer madness. Human Fund CEO, what's up, George Costanza is in next. Always a pleasure to have you here. As you know, I'm a huge Seinfeld fan, so it's always great to see Jason Alexander in the house. So welcome to you. Thank you for being here. Gary, what's the question or comment from George Costanza?
LaFlop moved out. LA went God mode on recruiting. Nuggets still waiting. Maybe Ben 10. Hello, everyone. What is the name of Bizarro Newman? What is his job?
Well, his name was Vargas, I believe. Right? Am I right, Gary? Let me know, Human Fund CEO George, in the comments. Sure. You always try to stump me with these Seinfeld questions. You're not batting a very good percentage right now at all. I think you've gotten one right so far, or I have missed one of your like 10 questions. So I'm like at least 9 out of 10 on these vague, obscure questions that you ask me. I'm pretty sure the Bizarro Newman's name was Vargas. Okay, and yes, the Human Fund is confirming that I am right, that it's Vargas.
That's right. He was on the end credit scene. That's why I didn't remember. I only remember the 4 Bizarro characters at the very end. No, he showed up. Okay, I know his job now. I see it. Do you know his job too?
I am kind of drawing a blank. I would guess it was somewhat postal service related, but I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly.
I've got it. I want to answer if you give up.
Go ahead.
Or if not. FedEx? Is it FedEx? Human Fund. Is it FedEx? I think I remember him in a FedEx uniform. Because he showed up for like 10 seconds. Yeah, because they looked at each other intently and then they smiled and shook hands. Now I remember. It's coming back to me. I forgot about Bizarro Newman.
So Vargas, the Bizarro version of Newman, is a FedEx worker. And remember, they were friends. Like, right. unlike Newman and Jerry, who dislike each other and are enemies, Vargas and the Bizarro Jerry, they were actually friendly. And so that was the dynamic there. Good question, though, Costanza. Thank you very much again I love the Seinfeld trivia. That was a good one. You do come up with good ones, so I appreciate that. And you're right. LaFlop has moved out. So there we go. And the Nuggets, well, Jason, Mr. Alexander, I think, unfortunately, we're going to be waiting till next summer because the Nuggets aren't going to do anything else this summer other than probably dump their third best player in Cam Johnson. But that's just how pathetic and inept the Denver Nuggets front office are. We've got Drench 4 E2Q is in next. What's up, Drench? Welcome in. What if LeBron won all 4 championships in Cleveland with no team hopping, no super teams, no asterisks, but still has 6 losses? Well, that's quite a what if, Drench, because he didn't prove he could win a single ring in Cleveland without the team hopping and the super teams. So I think if LeBron never left Cleveland, if he never went anywhere, and he's just played 24 years in Cleveland, I think he might have 0 or 1 ring, maybe 2, maybe, but that would be the extent of it. Because he would have so many opportunities because he would be in the finals every year because the conference isn't that good. Although his team would have been less strong as well without the super hoppings and stuff. So I don't know. I think he has 2 rings or less in 24 years if he just stayed put. And obviously, he's probably not a top 10 player at that point. Maybe a fringe top 10 guy if he has 2 rings in 24 years. But look, I'll play your hypothetical game. If LeBron had this resume the all-time leading scorer in NBA history, 4 league MVPs, and 4 NBA championships on a non-super team Cleveland team, and he stayed there the whole time. Like, yeah, he's probably a Mount Rushmore player at that point. But he's barely in my top 10. He's like the 10th best player ever to me at this point. And to me, I think he will shortly be out of the top 10 of my top 10 altogether, because of the way he acquired the rings. So like, that's my biggest, really my biggest issue with him, is that he has garbage rings that mean very little. Yes, they count. Yes, he has 4 rings. Yes, I can't just say he has no rings at all and asterisk them all, but like, they're well below, like, his 4 rings are worth less than Giannis's 1 ring to me, and Nowitzki's 1 ring, and Jokic's 1 ring. So they're a very low value ring. So that's why I don't have him very highly ranked. If he had 4 non-super team rings with Cleveland, then yeah, he's obviously has a top 4 resume all time, top 3 resume all time. It's not the GOAT resume. It still certainly doesn't touch Michael Jordan's resume. So I don't know, Drench. I hope that answered your question. I think it would change a lot for me, but it wouldn't be enough to put him top 2, in my opinion. I would still have Kobe over him. I would still have Jordan over him at least. Stump 4522. What's up, Stump? Welcome in. Thank you as always for being here, my friend. Raptors definitely, potentially top 4 next season in the Eastern Conference. I'm saying potentially top 1 or top 2 maybe in the Eastern Conference. I mean, again, let me pull up this list of, I want to not miss any team. I think they're better than Detroit. We got to see what Detroit does the rest of the way here this offseason. But right now, I think Toronto's better than Detroit. I think Toronto's better than Boston. I think they're better than Cleveland. I think they're better than Orlando. I think they're better than Miami. I think they're better than Indiana. And the other teams I'm not even going to bother talking about. The teams I think you can make a case that they are not as good as would be New York and maybe Philly at this point, possibly Atlanta, depending on what they do in this offseason. But I would say realistically, they probably will be above Atlanta, maybe probably above Philly. I like Charlotte too, but look, the only team there, and they might be better than New York. They're a top, to me right now. We'll see what the rest of this cycle contains, what moves and stuff it contains, like what else teams do in the East from a free agent addition standpoint, trades, etc. As of right now, as I sit here on July 1, 9:03 p.m., I think the Raptors are a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference. So I don't think there's anything arguable about it, Stump, especially if you're saying top 4 or not anything potentially about it. If you're saying top 4, definitively in my book. We've got Ashhead 65 up next. What's up, Ash? Welcome in. Thank you, as always, for being here. I appreciate it. The Cronkies don't give a damn about the Nuggets. They only care about the Rams. That and whatever this soccer team or football team, if you want to call it that, Arsenal or some shit, Gary. What is the soccer team that the Cronkies own? Do you know?
I don't know. Those clubs are all so confusing to me because they don't. It's not a league like the NFL or the NBA. There's all these different clubs in different countries, and then some of the players seem to play. They oppose. 2 players will oppose each other in one league, and then they'll be playing together in the next league. It's really convoluted.
It is Arsenal that they own. I want to see. I think they own the Avalanche as well. Hold on. The Rams, Arsenal FC, and Arsenal WFC, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Rapids, Colorado Mammoth. That's a lacrosse league. Yeah. So they basically, Arsenal just won for like the first time in like a lifetime. And the Rams look like they're going to win the Super Bowl pretty easily. I think they're the overwhelming favorite to do so right now. So, Ash, you're right. The Cronkies ultimately don't really care about the Nuggets, and they don't care about Nikola Jokic. So my question is, why does Nikola Jokic care about them? Like, it's time to put this to an end. We have to stop this, Nikola Jokic. You've got to go. You've got to leave. It'll be 12 years. He will have played 12 full seasons when next year ends. He's given them everything. I mean, it's like, again, Gary, I always liken things to sports, to movies, basically everything in life. I do some kind of a movie comparison. I like to talk movies. Obviously, I've talked very favorably about the movie The Dark Knight here, which is like my favorite superhero movie of all time. Well, in The Dark Knight Rises, if you remember, Anne Hathaway as Catwoman,
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Begging Bruce to leave. Like, you've given these people everything. Like, you owe them nothing more. Like, begging him because he essentially looks like he's going to sacrifice himself for Gotham. And Bruce is like, not everything, not yet. That's the conversation right now that I'm having with Nikola Jokic. You owe Denver nothing else.
Nothing.
Like, you're killing you're going to kill and destroy your own legacy if you don't get the hell out of town and do it as quickly as possible. It's got to be next year. He's got to rip the Band-Aid and just get the hell out. 12 years. KG was 13, I think, in Minnesota or something like that. I want to say Akeem Olajuwon was like 14 or 15 in Houston. Those teams wasted those players, just like Nikola Jokic is being wasted by Denver, and those players waited too long to leave. And now Jokic is in that range too. 12 years in and 32 at the end of next season. He's waited too long already. He can't waste any more time. He has to get the hell out of there. BZ6, what's up, my friend? Welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Would Case and Wallace to the Nuggets work? Well, yeah, I would take that for sure. I don't know that the Oklahoma City Thunder are shopping that or pushing it at all. He makes, to my opinion, close to nothing. Like $4 million or something like that. Let me just confirm that. $7 million. So he made $5.5 million this year. He's due 7.4 next year in the form of a team option. So they do need to extend him, and I don't know that they want to do that. The Thunder's books are a mess. Right now, they have $250 million on the books for next year. 250. Like, they don't even see the second apron at this point. It's a speck. It's a little tiny speck in the rearview mirror for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's what the second apron is. Like, $50 million over the salary cap right now. They've got to do something. They restructured Isaiah Hartenstein, so that number will come down a little bit. And they did let a couple guys. I think they declined Kenrick Williams, but that was like $7 million only. They traded Aaron Wiggins, but that was only $8 million. So yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't Aaron Wiggins. It was it Isaiah Joe? I'm drawing a blank. They traded, I think it was Wiggins or Joe. I traded
Joe.
It was Joe. Okay. So Isaiah Joe's off the books. He was $11 million. Kenrick Williams, they renounced the hold on him. They restructured Hartenstein. They picked up Dort, from what I heard. So that's $18 million next year on the team option for him. So look, they got it. They're either going to execute this 1 year option on Case and Wallace and then lose him next year, or maybe they trade him now. Who knows? So maybe, I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, BZ, it would certainly work for Denver. I don't know that Oklahoma City is in the market right now or has the desire to trade Case and Wallace, especially because $7.4 million is a mighty cozy salary for him. The guy, he started 58 games for them last year, played in 77. Look, he only scored 9 points per game, but Defensive Player of the Year 7, and All-NBA Defensive Team 2 for a 22-year-old who is in full ascension mode right now. So I don't know that they have any desire to trade him away. And if they do, that they would trade them to one of the principal rivals in the Denver Nuggets. Will N8664. What's up, Will? Welcome in, my friend. As always, I appreciate you so much for being here, supporting us. Did Brad Stevens expect to get Pacers PG? Maybe. Look, maybe in addition to this trade, which includes Paul George, at this point, 36-year-old, washed to hell Paul George, and 2 first-round picks, maybe Philadelphia is also sending over a DeLorean, which is complete with a flux capacitor, to Boston, and Brad Stevens is going to use that time-traveling car to venture back to 2017 or whatever and get that Paul George and bring him to Boston instead. Because if they were getting that Paul George, then this looks like this trade makes a little bit more sense, in my opinion. But right now, this Paul George providing very little to the Boston Celtics outlook moving forward. Dugga 3666. What's up, Dugga? Thank you so much for joining us here on Skap Live. I appreciate it. Gary, go ahead and read me the question or comment that Dugga has for us tonight.
Bro, you're too funny using terms like stupid village idiot. How long have you been skeptical of Braun, by the way? Shout out to Lithuania basketball.
Well, look, Dugga, if the shoe fits, if the stupid village idiot shoe fits, then unfortunately, these people that I'm throwing it out at, they have to wear it. How long have I been skeptical of Braun? For basically since I saw him the very first time in person with my own 2 eyes, which is when he was playing high school basketball. I went to see him play. Braun and I are roughly the same age, by the way. I went to see him play when he was in town in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with his high school team, St. Vincent St. Mary's. And I saw this freak, this physical freak mutant who could have just annihilated the entire other team that he was playing with. Yet LeBron, while being like 6'8", 235 in high school, was being guarded by like 2 5'10" white guys, essentially, boxing, wanting him most of the game. And yet LeBron was still making the right basketball move. LeBron was passing the ball around and getting his other teammates involved instead of trying to drop 50 on this team. So I was pretty skeptical of LeBron then. I was even more skeptical of him when he tattooed Chosen One in 7-inch block letters on his own back when he was like 18 years old. Pretty skeptical at that point as well. And then when he came into the NBA and he pooped his pants in various postseasons as the league MVP with the best record in the NBA, well, I was extraordinarily skeptical of him at that point. Then when he took his talents to South Beach like a coward mercenary, dragging his bum ass on his hands and knees to Dwayne Wade's team to steal rings with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, well, then I just became an outright hater of LeBron James. So that is pretty much my timeline of dislike, Dugga, of LeBron James. And shout out to Lithuania basketball. Shout out to you, Dugga. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Squish 1150 is in next. What's up, Squish? And welcome back into you. I appreciate it. What do I rate the Lakers offseason? Well, I give them an incomplete right now. It's not a pass. It's not a fail. It's just an incomplete. I haven't seen enough. Look, if we're assuming this is it, I'm not in love with the overall offseason. I like getting rid of LeBron and bringing in Kessler is nice. If they can get Rui back in. So if they can retain Rui Hachimura with Kessler, we're in B territory there, I think, B plus range for the LA Lakers with this offseason to this point. And then who knows what else they might add at this point. Again, maybe I take it down to a B minus because I don't like them losing Marcus Smart for essentially the same amount of money. Like I think he had a $5.5 $6.5 million player option for the next season, and he went to Houston for 6.5. Like, throw a little extra cash at Marcus Smart and keep him, for God's sakes. So maybe a B minus if this is what it is. I'm sorry, a B minus if they get Rui and they lose Marcus and they got Kessler. As it stands right now, if they lose Rui and they lose Marcus Smart and it's basically just Kessler and some fill-ins, I don't really like the play at all, really, for the Lakers. It would be like a C minus ish at that point. And for me, Squish, I am a straight A student for my entire life. If you go back and look at grade school, high school, college, I have all A's and like a smattering, like 3 B's ever, like, or something along those lines. So a C minus is basically might as well be failing, in my opinion. So it's not a D or an F bad, which is like, holy shit, WTF, terrible. But it would be kind of a letdown if they lose Rui and Marcus Smart and they don't really add anything of note other than Kessler. Cuse Mode Jimbo, what's up, brother? Welcome and thank you so much. 2 days in a row for you. Still in your post-championship glow, celebrating your New York Knicks first title in 53 years. I'm honored to have you here with us now 2 days in a row, taking a break from your busy schedule of celebrations. Gary, what's the question or comment from Cuse Mode?
Is it just me, or am I not impressed with any of these trades? It's like every superstar and potential contender panicked when the Knicks won. LMAO.
Yeah, no,
emoji.
I've been talking about it, Jimbo, for days now. None of these trades make any sense. They all stink. They stink for both sides by and large too. That is wild to me, that with all the moves we've seen, somehow they're not helping either team. Like, it stinks for both sides mostly. I do like that Charlotte Hornets trade. I love the Kawhi trade for both teams. I think it's a nice package for the Clippers, and I think it's a great upgrade for the Toronto Raptors. So that's really the best trade I've seen. And then, look, hell, I love the Jaylen Brown trade for the Sixers. Like, get off of the contract, that awful contract of Paul George, for basically just 2 first rounds, and you bring back Jaylen Brown, and now you build this crazy stacked backcourt of Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe. I love the deal for them, but otherwise, Jimbo, I'm with you. These trades are stinky. And your Knicks, though, look, they're capped as well. They're dealing with some salary cap issues. We've been talking finances a lot in this Skap Live edition. So you lost Mitchell Robinson today, so you're going to need like a backup big at this point. 3 for 47 is pretty steep. I definitely did not think he was going to fetch that caliber of salary, whatever that is, like $16-ish million a year. That's a big, I think he made like 12 for the Knicks, I want to say, this past year. 12. He made $12 million this past year. So 3 years at $16 million per is pretty nice, I think, for Mitchell Robinson. I feel like that was probably an offer he couldn't say no to. He could not resist, I think. So unfortunately, I know it probably sucks for you to lose him, but I would think no harm, no hard feelings for Mitchell Robinson on his way, because $50 million guaranteed for a 7.5 point per game career scorer. That I feel like you got to just think about the money at some point. He got his ring. He got a championship. Now he's probably trying to get paid. My Life, Your Entertainment. What's up? I like that handle. My Life, Your Entertainment. And welcome into the show. Thank you for your generous donation here as well. I appreciate the support. Gary, what's the question or comment that accompanies this generous donation?
I ran an ESPN trade simulator. The Lakers should trade Bronny, Jay Vandy, and Jake LaRavia for Drew Holiday to fill the Marcus Smart void. It gives them cap room as well, plus an added bonus.
Yeah, I think that trade kind of makes sense. The Bronny thing, probably not, because he's going to be tied up in limbo, and the Lakers are going to help get Bronny to whatever team LeBron James ends up at. I know that will be part of the conversations he has with whatever the front office that he's going to be working with ultimately will be working with him on, is getting Bronny there. And the Lakers, out of respect for LeBron and everything LeBron did for them over the last 8 years, will help get that done. Will help get Bronny to Bron. So other than that, I think it makes a decent amount of sense. And yes, Holiday would be a great fit for the Lakers. Holiday would be a great fit anywhere. Like anywhere where you're not expecting him to be the second best player on your team, maybe at this point, even the third best player on your team, Drew Holiday would be a great fit at. Ultimately, he's a great glue guy. He is a Marcus Smart caliber player, I think. So that you're right. That would be a good move. That would help enhance my score that I just said is sitting somewhere in the C range right now, unless they get Rui. That would bump it to a B. And if they get Drew as well, then that might bump it into A territory. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, obviously, and see. My grading is subject to change because right now the Lakers have an incomplete. And speaking of incompletes, well, not incompletes, but the incorruptible is back in. Thank you, my friend. Welcome back into you. Trades like these keep the top teams even more top. Well, not in the Boston Celtics case, because the Boston Celtics were a top team. They were, to me, the best team in the Eastern Conference last year. And to Vegas, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference this year. At least they were this morning, because as of this morning, the Boston Celtics had the third best odds to win the NBA championship next season, third behind only San Antonio and Oklahoma City, two Western Conference teams. So that would mean that Boston concurs with me, or Vegas concurs with me about Boston, or I concur with them about Boston, with whatever way you want to look at it. Me in Las Vegas, think that Boston was the top team in the East. Now they're like the 6th or 7th best team in the East. At best, in my opinion, 5th. Maybe they shock and surprise me and they get into that 4-5 line, but they're decisively under the top 3, in my opinion, at this point. I think the Knicks and Raptors for sure. And then I could throw in any one of like 3 or 4 other teams that I think are probably at the very least, better than Boston now at this point. But they went from number 1 to comfortably behind Toronto and New York now at this point to me. But again, just like I was just talking about the Lakers, could be an incomplete right now. We don't know exactly what Boston is planning from here. Not that anything that they can plan will not get them better, in my opinion. Because look, you essentially, the first rounders are the first rounders. They are what they are. They're out in the future, 2028, 2031. They're not getting Boston any better next year unless they're going to repackage these first and go after something else. Other than that, the first don't do a damn thing for them on the court next season. So essentially for next season, for the purposes of next year, you have exchanged Paul George for Jaylen Brown. And that certainly isn't getting you any better than what you were last year. So there's really no way they can get above, to me, the Knicks or at this point, the Raptors. But we'll see what else they do from here on out. We will go back to back, though, right now with the incorruptible. Gary, I'll go ahead and give this second one of 2 back to back by the incorruptible to you. What's this latest question or comment?
This trade makes JB look like someone like Morant. What did JB do to seem like Boston desperately wanted rid of him?
Yeah, it's so weird because like Jaylen Brown didn't even demand or request a trade. Like there were murmurings, whispers maybe, speculations that Jaylen Brown wasn't happy or wasn't totally satisfied with his fit with Boston, that he wanted to move on and be like the 1A alpha guy on a team. But Brown certainly didn't make any demands, or either publicly or behind the scenes. And look, Jaylen Brown doesn't strike me as someone who's afraid to go on the record with stuff. This guy has been vocally outspoken about several things throughout his NBA career. He went right up against Nike. He does his podcast. He was calling out officials by name after this postseason. Jaylen Brown isn't going to run and hide from anything. If Jaylen Brown wanted out, he would have said so. And Jaylen Brown made no indications that he wanted out from Boston. They just decided to start shopping him for Giannis. And then after that went bad, they just kept on shopping him. And they took, I've heard this as pennies on the dollar, is from league sources. Allegedly, Boston was calling the offer as pennies on the dollar. Again, this is a bag of vending machine potato chips and a used stick of chewing gum on the dollar. That's what this deal is. It's just shocking and startling that is the value. And now, holy crap! Now I see if the Nuggets can't move Jaylen Brown, now I see why. If this is Jaylen Brown's value, what the hell is Jamal Murray's value? A lot less than that, I suppose. Stump 4522, meanwhile, comes in next. There has to be a compilation of the NBA league trading getting increasingly inept. This has to be that, Stump. You're right. Like anything you can do, I can do better. Or anything you can screw up, I can screw up better. Hold my beer. Just a series of startling and shocking, outright ineptitude being pushed from various league office running GMs, ownership groups, whatever. I can't put this all on any one person in these front offices. It's got to be a combination of events going on. Like, these trades are so bad, they would get you fired instantly, immediately. So I have to think that these guys, these general managers or whatever, these front office executives are well dialed in with ownership and getting the sign off and the blessing from them, like they would have to, with the amount of money, draft assets, caliber of players that are involved. Like, of course, ownership is giving the blessing to the front office, but it's just shocking. And who knows? Like, look, Nico Harrison, you would think, did all of those things before he traded Luka Doncic. I mean, I would be certain that he did all those things, yet he still got fired. So I think a lot of front office people, general managers, etc., are going to be getting canned over the next 12 to 18 months as these trades start falling apart, because it's obviously coming any day now. I feel like a day of reckoning for next season as these teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics take drastic steps back. Like, people are just going to start losing their jobs. We've got Jam Rita 2025 next. What's up, Jam? Welcome in, and thanks for being here, obviously. Spurs signed Tobias Harris. Does he get us over the hump? Tobias Harris over me? Look, I like the move. Tobias Harris averaged 18 points per game last year in the NBA playoffs. He was roughly 13, 14 points per game in the regular season. And I think he made roughly $26, $27 million last season for the Detroit Pistons. So the Spurs get him 2 years, $31 million. So he's taking about half as much money to go now to San Antonio. And look, he was the second offensive option on a 60-win team last year in the playoffs. Now the Spurs are going to ask him to be the fourth, fifth option, maybe some games the third or fourth option. I like it. And he's a good rebounder, viable defender. But what does it really matter what I think? Gary, what say you? We talked a little bit about this earlier. You're kind of feeling this move, right, Tobias Harris?
I mean, it's fine. I was hoping to get Rui Hachimura, but I mean,
that would have been better.
He's okay. We've got a lot of depth. That's what I really like. I mean, we have Harrison Barnes as well. We're going to be rotating guys in,
right?
And it's going to rest Wemby. We're going to be in a position to where, hopefully, now that we're a lot more mature and we turned that way in the second half of the season, we started routing teams. And we started learning, and I know this sounds ironic, we started learning how to route teams and hang on to leads. Obviously, we didn't do that in the biggest collapse in Game 4 of the finals. But you remember I was telling you how the first half of the year, I mean, I remember like they did it against the Nets. They did it against the Pelicans. They would build up these big 20, 25 point leads, and then they would lose the lead. Sometimes they would come back and win the game, but they would blow that lead still. It's like they're a team of two halves. They'll put one really good half together and then one weak half, or maybe three good quarters and one really anemic quarter. But with this new depth, hopefully that's going to help us be able to hang on to these leads. And what that's going to do is it's going to be able to give Wemby a lot of rest and keep him healthy. And I think that's really going to be the difference for him to sustain health throughout his career. Because other guys like Yao Ming, he was running to the ground. These other big guys with all these injury issues, yeah, they were running to the ground. It wasn't like they were monitoring their minutes like the Spurs do with Wemby. So I think Harris is a good piece. That, I mean, he's not a needle mover. He's not going to put us over the hump per se, but he's going to give us more much needed depth that's going to be able to give Wemby and some of the other guys rest. I think we're going to be really well balanced. That's what that's what I've been saying all year. Our biggest weakness was that there was a lack at the power forward position. And we just needed to get more balance, in which I said we're going to be doing over the next year or two. This roster's really shoring up, really nice. This guy will be here for 2, maybe 3 years. So it's not like he's going to be here for the long haul. But I definitely think he would be beneficial. I like him fine. I was kind of hoping for Rui. Some are even saying now there's a little room left over for LeBron, but I really hope that does not happen.
Gary, real quick before we continue on, the United States of America playing in action right now in the World Cup. They're up 1-0. That is crazy. Like, could we be living in a world where the U.S. national men's soccer team gets into the round of 16 in the World Cup? Like, that is unprecedented. So yeah, I'll be keeping my eye on that score. I'd like to watch some of that game if I can. I don't know when it started. It's 1-0 right now. But just to update you guys on that. And thank you, Gary, for your I like it, honestly. I think you're right. Rui Hachimura would have been better, but he's a good fit, I think. Tobias Harris. Yeah, he checks some boxes for San Antonio, and they get him on the cheap. $15 million in today's NBA is cheap as hell. Are you kidding me? We got guys like Christian Brown out here running around making $25 million. So
right,
$15 million a year bargain for Tobias Harris. Xavier DeGod, what's up? Welcome in. When LeBron and Paul say he's looking for a team that would make him happy, he means a team that will give into his demands and slurp him up. Well, Xavier, yes, you would think that's the real criteria, but that doesn't exist anymore in 2027 for 42-year-old LeBron James. Like, LeBron is being humbled a little bit right now. His team didn't want him at all. And now all of the actual contenders can offer him a pittance compared to what he's used to getting. He just made $55 million last year. We're talking in a world, LeBron's taking like $6 to $16 million is all he's going to get now this year. And he's going to be happy to get it on some team that he can also compete somewhat for, at least be a viable team or an over 500 team. So, yes, Xavier, that in an ideal world for LeBron James, that's what would be happening. But I just don't think the market isn't as robust as Rich Paul would have you believe, where LeBron James is going to be making any kinds of demands or expecting teams to acquiesce to him. But that is, you're dead right, in some capacity, what LeBron still thinks he is owed and what he is probably looking for. We'll go back to back, meanwhile, with Xavier. Gary, I'll give this one to you. Thank you, Xavier.
The Lakers had a cancer on the team. Laker Nation was infected by a disease. Now the Lakers are cancer-free, and Laker Nation is free and healthy again. Amen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day. Yesterday was a great day for the Los Angeles Lakers, for the fans all over the world, obviously. And the celebration has obviously spilled into a second day, and a second day where, you know, Rob Pelinka made a huge deal. He made a huge move. 2 first rounds and 2 swaps, I believe. I'm off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember. I know it was 2 firsts for sure. And then maybe it was 2. It was either 2 firsts and 2 seconds or 2 firsts and 2 swaps. But Walker Kessler then comes to town, who is 7'2", 24 years old, a premier shot blocker and rebounder. In 2024, 2025, his last healthy season, he averaged 12.2 rebounds, 2.4 blocks per game, which was second league-wide behind only Victor Wembanyama. So an elite rim protector. He can catch those lobs from the Luka action. Fits perfectly. He's a young player. Again, only 24 years old. So I think a really good move, all things considered. I like the deal from Rob Pelinka here in day one of their independence following getting LeCancer off of the team and off of the books. Michael Harris, 4450, joins us next. What's up, Michael? Appreciate it. Stephen A is going to have something to talk about with this trade. Love your show. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate you very much and the kind words and support. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for the support. It means a lot to me, guys. I am getting close to 100,000 subscribers. Gary, I don't know if you see, the count is kind of on. It's under 2,500 now. I'm away. I'm at like 97,600 or something like that. So it's like I'm getting very close. Once I get under 2,000, it will become a reality, and I'll start pushing and begging for subscribers even more at that point. So, Michael, I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you guys. The Incorruptible, I appreciate you. Back in yet again, Kessler to LA while Denver waits until no one is left. Yeah, Denver, I'm telling you, I can already see it. A team that does practically nothing every single year. No trades, no off-season moves, no free agents, no trades in season. They basically do nothing. Finally, they do something last year, a big something. They get Michael Porter Jr. off the books. They bring in Cam Johnson. They get a backup center in Jonas Valanciunas. They get a great bench piece in Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. gone. He's in Miami now for $6.5 million. You've got Jonas Valanciunas gone. He's going overseas. And Cam Johnson may be gone because they're going to try to salary dump him to just run it back with Peyton Watson. All the good things they did last year, the one good freaking year they had, all undone now the next offseason to run it back with the worst team in a conference more stacked than ever on the heels of a postseason where you won 2 total games in. Unimaginable ineptitude by the Denver Nuggets. Again, I repeat, in an era or an age, in a time in this offseason where we are seeing a plethora of ineptitude, a plethora of sheer idiocy from ownership groups and front office personnel, the Denver Nuggets still stand heads and shoulders above the rest, thanks to little Joshy Kroenke, the Nepo idiot, who is running the Denver Nuggets into the ground. Next in, we've got the Under Armour Games. The Under Armour Gamer. Sorry, it took me a while to put that one together. The Under Armour Gamer 5945. What's up? Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here and for your kind donation. Gary, what's the question or comment from the Underarm Gamer?
As a Blazer fan, I am so sick of half-baked off-season. Also, I think the Lakers are hard cap, so Rui would have to be a minimum.
If I'm you as a Blazers fan, Under Armour Gamer, I would be furious sitting back and looking at this deal that just came together for Jaylen Brown, because allegedly Portland was in the mix. They were in the hunt for Jaylen Brown. Look, I know the price for John Morant was much lower than what this price was for Jaylen Brown, but not markedly less. Like, just put your throw-ins and put 2 firsts with it. Like, And you could have had Jaylen Brown instead of John Morant. So that would really bother me as a Blazer fan if I were you. Let's take a look at the Lakers cap right now, shall we? And keep in mind that Rui Hachimura, though, is theirs. So that will factor in. The Lakers right now are showing only $105 million on the books, but that is going to include roughly $45 million. So 30 more for Austin Reeves. So because he's already showing at 14. So that brings it to about 135. And then Kessler, hang on a second here. Because I'm so terrible at math. 32.5 is the number that Kessler adds aggregated out. So they're sitting right now at about 167.5. Kennard is gone. Ayton activated that option, I believe. I mean, they've only got about 160, 170 million on the cap. So they're not hard capped at all. Unless I'm missing something here. And Rui Hachimura, okay, he's been on the Lakers for 4 years. I believe it's the 4th year where a team gets possession of bird rights. So it could be a 5th year. I might be wrong on that. If they have Rui Hachimura's bird rights, though, then they would be able to penetrate the cap. They would be able to go into the apron in order to sign him to whatever number realistically that they wanted. So that would not necessarily, they would have, what I'm trying to say is overall, they can offer Rui Hachimura more than the minimum. Now, they don't want to throw $25 million at him. He made $18.2 million last year. So we'll see what the market is for him. San Antonio was rumored to be one of the potential suitors for him, and they're out now, obviously, because they go with Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris over me? That's what Rui Hachimura is probably saying right now. Is Tobias Harris over me? Why not pony up a couple extra milli and come get me instead? So that's one more suitor out on Rui Hachimura. So maybe looking more of an increasing possibility that maybe the Lakers can retain him. Paul S 4099 is in next. What's up, Paul? Welcome in. Thanks for being here tonight with us. As a Celtics fan, which Paul is, I'm sorry, condolences to you, Paul. This is what happens when investors and not fans own teams. Fire Mazzulla and Stevens. I'm with you, Paul. I'm glad to have a voice of a Celtic fan right now. Actually, I think I'm going to be doing a record tomorrow, not a live, but I think I'm going to record a video with Tyler Rose tomorrow, who joined us once on this on a live stream. Tyler's a big Celtics fan, and we were actually scheduled to do something today, and he pushed to tomorrow, or else we might be talking about this trade with him. But I will talk about this trade with him in detail tomorrow, and then I'll put that video up later in the evening, probably tomorrow night. But I'm glad to have a Celtics perspective here from you, Paul, because I think they should have fired Mazzulla too. You blow a 3-1 lead as the best team in the Eastern Conference. They were the best team in the conference to me. They were the odds-on favorite to win the NBA championship or to get to the NBA championship last year out of the East. And they blew a 3-1 lead in the first round to the beat-ass 76ers with Paul George and Joel Embiid actually contributing. So I would have fired Mazzulla then and there, and now I would have fired Stevens today. Or if Stevens proposed that he wanted to make this move, if I was the owner, if I'm ownership and Stevens comes in with this deal on the table and says, I want to execute this deal, I would say, awesome. It's a no, and go ahead and pack your bags. Hit the bricks, pal, because you are going nowhere. You're fired. That's what I would have said to Brad Stevens. And I would have no Mazzulla or Stevens, Paul, to your point. So I'm glad that you, a Celtics voice, are aligned with me on this point because, again, one of the most pathetic, ridiculous, and disgusting trades I've seen since that Luka Doncic trade for sure. Go Habs 8918. Welcome in from Canada, of course. Go Habs. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Kobe, timeless inspirational words, LePuke, can't read. Yeah, that pretty much succinctly does depict the differential between Kobe Bryant and LePuke, as you put it, right? LeBron James, who can't make it off of page 1 of any single book that he has read in the last 24 years that we've seen at least. And yes, Kobe Bryant, obviously, to me, just such a shame, such a loss, because I think he might have been in the best chapters of his life when he was tragically robbed from us, when he was taken. I think even being a top 5, a Mount Rushmore, in my estimation, a top 2 all-time player, well, that's a pretty big accomplishment for most people. But to me, Kobe was just getting started. So, yeah, just a class act, in my opinion. A guy who obviously, yes, wasn't perfect, made mistakes, but atoned for them, got better, learned from them. And I think Kobe was just becoming the best Kobe that he could be when he, again, his life was cut short. The best person, the best father, the best friend, etc. And LeBron, yeah, not the ambassador to the sport that Kobe Bryant ever was. And hopefully, mercifully, we won't have LeBron as an ambassador of the sport for much longer. My Life, Your Entertainment, back in again, this time with a very generous donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate your very kind support here. Gary, what is the question or comment from My Life, Your Entertainment?
Was Jaylen Brown devalued because of him starting a Black Wall Street in Boston? That's definitely why Stephen A. started targeting him. Kobe also was on a mission for righteousness as well, versus the machine versus Big Pharma. What you think?
I'm going to reread this, Gary. You were lagging a little bit, or I was, one or the other. Let me just reread it real quick. Was Jaylen Brown devalued because of him starting a Black Wall Street in Boston? This definitely is why Stephen A. started targeting him. Kobe also was on a mission for righteousness as well, versus the machine versus Big Pharma. What do you think? I don't know. Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown has been an outspoken guy on several topics. I think he got absolutely snubbed a few years ago by the Olympic Committee. I thought he should have been on the Olympic team. He was left off, and I'm pretty sure Derek White was on. Instead, it was just a weird set of circumstances. And Brown wasn't shy about saying that he got screwed, and it was because Nike intentionally told Team USA to screw him, because Brown was an outspoken advocate against Nike. So, Brown isn't afraid to speak his mind. He's a very intelligent guy. He's very well spoken, articulate. He's a smart guy as well. And he's not afraid to be controversial. So I don't know if any of that played into it. My guess would be no. Sports are a business ultimately, and it's a bottom line driven. It's about money, figures, red, black, X and O's, wins and losses. It's an absolute kind of thing, sports. And I just can't believe Jaylen Brown isn't that controversial that you would try to do the best that you can to build a package that would bring you back Jaylen Brown, because the guy, you say what you will, his raw box score numbers looked fantastic last year. Look, I'm an advanced analytics kind of guy. I'm an advanced metrics guy. Jaylen Brown wasn't an advanced analytics superstar, but I think the analytics of it all, it tells a story a lot of the times, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And Jaylen Brown is just a dog in a good way. He's a winner. The guy's a competitor on both sides of the ball. He's a winner. I would want to be in business with Jaylen Brown if I was an NBA team. So I don't understand why the packages weren't better, or if they were, why Boston didn't take one of them. But I'm certain that somebody's going to get to the bottom of those questions at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. GGY7104 is up next. You love on-offs, right? Check Brown's horrible. I just spoke to it. I'm glad that I beat you to the punch and spoke to it. Horrible. I can't deny it. Like he was a minus 4.5 last year in the regular season in the on-offs. I don't have to check it, GGGY. I know it. And he was minus 31 in the postseason last year. Minus 31. That is undeniably horrible. I actually saw as well the guys to make all NBA teams last year. So all NBA first or second teams. Actually, I think it was the last 2 or 3 years. Jaylen Brown is the only guy on that list. There were a few guys who had a negative net rating in the regular season, and there were a few guys with a negative net rating in the playoffs. But there was only one guy on that list of like 29 names or some shit that I saw that had a negative, a minus net rating, both in the regular season and the postseason, and that was Jaylen Brown. So, yeah. His impact on the game, I get it. Like, doesn't look favorable, doesn't look positive. He was the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals. He was the Finals MVP last year. Of that year. He scored 29 points per game last year on 49% shooting and is a good defensive player, if not an elite defensive player. I can't believe, GGGYY, even if his impact is that bad looking, that he's worth Paul George and 2 firsts. Like that would be an insulting package for Jamal Murray. And I would much rather have Jaylen Brown than Jamal Murray. So I just don't understand it. But like I said, I'm sure we will at some point be getting to the bottom of it. Oh, but breaking news, 2-0. The United States of America are now up. They're up 2-0. I'm seeing 80. Is that 85th minute? Anyway, the U.S. is looking like, barring some catastrophic implosion, the United States of America World Cup team is heading. They're going to win a knockout game and head to the round of 16. So, what a day to be an American, I suppose. As we get closer to the 4th of July, we are almost, July 1st is nearly in the rear view. So we're getting ever closer. I think 2 days away. Tomorrow's Thursday, Saturday is the 4th of July. So I wonder when the U.S. Men's team might possibly play next. Maybe on the 4th of July. Who knows? I don't know what the scheduling looks like at this point. But Gary, we are at the end of, I believe we are at the end of our questions and comments. 3 hours in the books tonight. Another impromptu Skap Live session tonight. We were on for 4 hours in the middle of the day yesterday, out of nowhere, with the massive LeBron James bombshell news, and another bombshell tonight with his Jaylen Brown trade business. So I had to hop on again. Still 500 people in here after 3 hours. We were, 1,300 people tonight. We had 1,700 people last night. The audience just keeps creeping up, Gary. Our viewership keeps enhancing on these shows. So thank you guys so very much for obviously subscribing, I hope, and certainly keeping those notifications on, because that is the best time or the best way for you to stay up to date with us here. Gary, go ahead. What else do you have to add?
And for dessert, after this live stream concludes, check out this new video I made where Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright were comforting each other about how upset they were when LeBron left LA and how LA wronged them. It is quite humorous. So hopefully some of you will check that out.
Yes, indeed. Please check out Gary828. He's got a couple channels. His sports channel, though, the one that he's referencing, Gary828 Sports. Throw him a follow over there. And yes, Iman, Jay, I am nearing 100K. Thank you for the shout out. My long quest, my very long journey to 100,000. It's been like a little over 3 years now. I certainly didn't think it would take this long when I started, but I am almost there, guys. Only you can get me the rest of the way. So if you aren't subscribed, please, again, do so at this time. If you didn't like this live stream, please like it at this point now. And guys, as always, please do make sure notifications are turned on. We will, if there's some other crazy thing that happens tomorrow, I'll be back on tomorrow. If and when LeBron James makes his announcement, of course, I'll be on for that. If and when the Denver Nuggets do something ridiculous and stupid, I'll be on for that too. So, and who knows what else might happen that's unforeseeable at this time, and I'll likely be on for that as well. But until then, guys, have a great rest of your night. Have a great day tomorrow if I don't see you. And until next time, guys, I hope that you guys have a great remainder of the week, if it's not until the following week. And if you are coming to me from the United States of America's market, a happy early 4th if I don't see you before then. And it is still 2-0 the United States of America. So tune into that World Cup game too, I suppose.